Salutations, Eradicators. Welcome to Eradicate Entirely Podcast, the corrupted memory file and the outdated computer running Windows XP that is your stupid brains. I am your host, Big Dick Drew Bulby, joined as always by my half-robot sex slave,
Patrick Wall?
That's my baby boy, Patrick. Also in the room, we have producer Riley.
Yo.
Eradicate Entirely is the podcast where we dig up the lost, buried, backfilled, and burned out truths of a world gone mad. For instance, why are we covering up the flat Earth? Who are the lizard people in the center of the flat Earth? What exactly is an organon?
Hold up. What's going on?
Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to our OnlyFans. We have some real fucking sexy content for our dedicated fans on there, and it gets stanky. So without further ado, Patrick, what are we talking about today?
What? I don't know, dude. What's going? Why are you hosting? Why is Riley producing?
That's the show, bud. You feeling okay? We get too weird on the OnlyFans feed? Stomach upset?
No, I'm the host. It's called, oh fuck, I can't remember. Delete
what, Patrick?
Delete what, Patrick? Delete what, Patrick?
Delete. I don't know. I don't know.
Patrick Wall, successful podcaster, family man, hating ass bitch. Once the master of his domain, has accidentally taken a stumble and fallen through the cracks of history. Located somewhere between the omitted and forgotten, Patrick has found himself on the invisible airwaves of madness. He's going to have to hold on to his sanity, his memory of a former life, if he ever wants to escape. Because one wrong turn, and his very mind will delete everything with Patrick Wall.
Welcome back, my sweet little babies. I don't know what the fuck just happened there, but welcome back to Delete Everything Podcast, our big old memory machine that's been waiting for you to hop in so we can replace the voided out, deleted, and omitted parts of your brain's memories with the actual, factual, historically correct junk. I'm your principal investigator, Patrick Wall, PhD. With me, as always, he's 12 years and 4,000 pages into his thesis paper, my best graduate student,
Riley Bowen.
Also, we've got our unpaid, overworked intern, producer Drew over here helping with our experiments. This is his birthday episode.
Yay.
Happy birthday, buddy.
Happy birthday, bud.
Thanks.
Drew is finally old enough to finger.
But not fuck.
That's way out of line. That is
differentiation
inappropriate,
there.
sir.
You got your finger stuff birthday, then your mouth stuff birthday.
Everyone knows.
And then your full insertion birthday. It's 3 different birthdays.
Okay. Speaking of deleting everything, cut that bit. Drew just turned 62 years old.
He's looking good,
62
dude.
years young.
Looking
Thank
good.
you.
Real quick, giant thanks to anybody who's left a review or rating or Spotify comment last week. You guys are great. We would really like more, though. I know it's a pain in the ass, but it helps us so much on the other side of this thing, the side where we can actually make a couple of bucks for all the time and work and effort we take to do this thing for you guys instead of hanging out with our families. So if you're enjoying the show and you haven't done it yet, please take a second to go on whatever you're streaming on and leave us a little love note. It's more helpful and appreciated than you probably realize. So on top of that, the rundown, Instagram at Delete Everything Podcast. You can see cool corresponding photos for this and every other episode. Follow us there. YouTube's got all of our audio episodes and a couple of videos, and we are working diligently on getting some audio video clips of the actual show on there ASAP. So
yeah, working very, very hard. Actually, we just got like a fuckload of video equipment, so we'll be doing something here pretty soon,
and more,
possibly
and more on the way.
Amateur porn.
Maybe.
I'm trying to make.
Yeah.
Would you guys be into that?
Leave
a comment.
What it is, I just want to, if we set up lights and like reflectors and stuff and tripods, then whatever ladies we invite in here will think it's a professional setup.
Ladies?
It'll be, yeah.
It doesn't work as well at a Motel 6. They're like,
yeah.
no, should have gone for like, a Hilton Executive Suites.
The Motel 6 has a different kind of ambiance, but it's not bad.
It's an ambiance.
It doesn't have the kitchenette.
That's what you need.
And that's really craft services is vital.
Also, if you would like to know what it feels like to be simultaneously in the minds of not one, but two, frequently three clinically insane people, maybe you want to compare your own insanity to ours, Patreon is the place to do that. That's patreon.com/deleteeverythingpodcast. We put out a bonus episode every week. They average probably around 40 to 45 minutes, and it's a lot more conversational. We don't disseminate so much information. It's much more
inseminate.
We inseminate lots of information. It's a lot more casual usually. It's just like one simple topic that we almost always deviate away from immediately. And we just make hilarious jokes and a lot of stories and quips from our personal lives. It's fun.
This week's Patreon, I talked more about French actor Christopher Lambert than I did the topic.
God damn it.
I covered 2 of his movies in their entirety.
I gave up midway through. How'd you guys' weeks go?
I don't remember.
Been a weird one.
I don't really remember.
We all had Father's Day.
Yeah. Father's Day, yes.
Yeah, that was yesterday.
I remember. I have a child.
Yeah, you do.
Yes. I feel okay. I haven't done dick for like a whole week, but then on Father's Day I did a bunch of shit. I did like Father's Day was Sunday?
Yeah.
So Saturday. That was yesterday?
That was yesterday, bud.
Saturday I did a bunch of stuff. I worked with a friend that's a woodworker, and I carved a knife handle, which was cool. I bought all his camera equipment. I took a long nap and ate a bunch of ice cream. And then on Father's Day, I went to sword class, and I got the absolute shit kicked out of me by a bunch of nerd virgins.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
This was not a fun Father's Day for me. My biological son is gone for the first time. I was texting you guys a bit, getting through my sadness, and both of my steps were with their father. So
he's still alive.
He is. I talked to him.
It sounded like you just said he was gone for the first. Like,
no.
Like my biological son,
he's gone from his home. He's across the country. So it's a little bummer for me, but he's doing well. So everything's good. It's just the first time in almost 20 years that I haven't had my son on Father's Day, and that was kind of sad for me.
Huh.
But I'm all right.
I had a great fucking Father's Day.
Yeah, all your kids were here.
I got steak.
Damn it.
I got a bunch of like snacks and shit.
I didn't get
my kid painted me a picture.
My kid called me at one point. Whatever. I haven't had my like custody thing with my kid. I don't have like any holidays.
I've
got a really
Father's Day.
I've got like a super regular schedule and Halloween.
Weird.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
that's cool.
I picked it. I was like, hey, can I fucking have Halloween, please? But yeah, I don't have like any goddamn holidays at all.
That's a bummer.
Not really. I don't, like I'm more of like a transcendental kind of guy. I see beyond the primitive scope of man's pleasures, and I try and see the bigger sphere.
Are you in a sword fighting class too?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, wow, you're so cool, man.
Yeah, I see further than the average person, and also I fight with swords.
Oh.
Great big balls.
Real fucking Highlander over here we got.
Dude, the movie rules. I just saw Highlander for the first time.
Riley is sick. Losing it because he saw Highlander for the first
so
time.
Good.
It's like a fucking 40-year-old movie.
I can't believe it's been in a blind spot. It's such a huge part of fucking
and we bring
pop
it
culture.
Up frequently.
It's like, dude, there's fucking 4 movies. There's an entire series.
Yeah, I know.
And like Christopher Lambert is like we're not getting into another.
Okay, all right.
Christopher Lambert rant here.
Well, so I spent the whole week wondering if Drew's been in a funk because he's been almost completely MIA from our group chat.
I have been working. I've been getting my ass kicked at the hospital.
Yeah, I go through phases too. It's all good.
Yeah.
I'm
not salty. I'm glad to be sitting here, truly.
I think you've even commented in our chat if I was dead, like because like I went a day or two without saying much in there. So yeah, it usually means I'm like enjoying my weekend. For you, I guess it means that you don't have any fucking time to yourself.
Pretty much, yeah.
Dude, time dilation is so real, though.
I'm a really big just put my phone down for hours kind of guy anyway.
I don't know what kind of guy I am because I feel like my days pass super quickly and I just fucking don't remember what happened.
Yeah, that's true. Same.
Kind of on brand for this episode.
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
I'm a put my phone down for hours, forget it exists kind of guy, and then like 8 hours later, I'm like, oh shit, where's my phone? And I have like a bunch of missed texts and calls and stuff, but
It's all from us. Yeah. We fucking our group chat.
pretty much all you guys.
Our group chat is fucking ridiculous, consistent, constant. Every time I get a text message, my daughter hears it. She's like, "Is that the Pod Squad?"
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
The Pod Squad.
And I was like, "Quit being hip."
That's so cool.
My wife's like,
it.
"Oh, is that your boyfriend's again?"
Yeah.
the phone chime just goes,
My phone's always on silent, so nobody knows what's happening. And
She calls us
frequently in the other room.
She calls us the throuple now.
"Aw."
It sounds like some jealousy going on in your household, bud. You need to get your house
All of
together.
our wives are like, "Are you guys? What the fuck is going on here?"
It was the same thing when this was like a band practice space.
Right.
When it
So
was-
you just had a breakup, and now you've got some new boyfriends.
Yeah.
How much time in between did you take? Are we a rebound?
I mean, the band, it's not technically broken up. There's just only 3 of us anymore.
Right.
And it's been a long process.
How long between
Messy
when that
breakup.
stopped and when we started?
I mean, you'd have to define. It hasn't stopped. Like,
Essentially, when I noticed
You're being
that-
evasive. You're being evasive.
when I
Are we a
noticed the
rebound?
practice space was empty, I was like, "Hey, we got to move in here."
Okay, so this episode was Drew's pick for his birthday, and he really wanted to do something surrounding the Mandela effect, which, if you're not familiar with, is this phenomenon about false memories, not singular false memories, but shared across like a large swath of people's collective memories. And it leads to things like simulation theory, where everyone's living in a simulation, and these shared false memories are like proof of some type of glitch in the simulation. There's a lot of weird theories that sort of jump off of Mandela effect stuff, and we're going to get into some of them. So in an attempt to rationalize all these and make them make sense, like why does this happen? We come across some other phenomenon that we're going to discuss as well. So, fucking buckle up.
I got a phenomenon that might explain some unusual things.
Uh-huh.
We are electric meat computers.
Yeah.
That's weird.
That's basically what it boils down to.
That's just fucked.
Yeah.
well, that's what interests me about this topic is like, I'm in healthcare, whatever. Like the most interesting part of the human body is the brain for me, hands down. And
100%.
the brain, the fallibility is what
Balls.
drew me to this.
Yeah.
And the balls are really interesting too.
They just keep making cum. I mean, it just doesn't stop.
It's crazy. How they're just fucking free floating around. It's wild.
You're connected by blood vessels.
What my interest in?
You think your nuts are just swimming around in cum inside your balls?
Yeah, it's the seminal vesicles. It's just like
Riley just imagines if you took an X-ray of his balls, it's just like just dense cum and just balls just free floating in there.
Clacking
God
around.
damn it. Fuck.
Just switching places sometimes, one on top of the other, one front and back.
God, what was I gonna say there?
I don't know.
Everybody knows that I'm big into like philosophy. Like I try not to be fucking pretentious asshole philosophy guy all the time because I think that's stupid.
It's a lot.
Yeah, there's no such
can be a lot.
There's no such thing as definitive philosophy in any respect. You're supposed to be able to read a bunch of them and kind of pick and choose. Like I'm a big absurdist. I really like nihilistic philosophies and pessimistic philosophies, but not necessarily in a negative way. But when I think about just like the human experience of being just like some goop full of electricity, it's really hard to find a philosophy that fits anywhere in there. So memory stuff, brain stuff, just cognitive ability in general mystifies me.
I think the time when I fall the most into nihilism is in discussing philosophies. Because it gets to a point where it's so exhausting.
You're just like, all right, just shut the fuck up.
You know what?
Nothing
It
matters.
doesn't matter. We're just all fucking here. There's no purpose. There's no fucking. We're here for a little bit, then we die, and then that's the fucking end of it. And like, who cares? Spend all this time just fucking just slamming your head against the fucking wall, obsessing over this shit, and then you're gonna die, and none of it mattered.
Well, the way that
From an ethical perspective, what you leave behind for the people who are still here.
You guys know
other
omission
things.
theory? You ever heard of omission theory?
I don't know.
It's the very base concept that there's no omission in the universe, right? Like every molecule in you, every germ or every piece of everything is going to exist no matter what happens. You get set on fire,
well,
that's just your molecules are going to fucking break
science
apart,
behind
right?
that.
Yeah.
You can't create or destroy energy.
Exactly.
So, energy from anything that anything that requires energy, which is every living thing, and shit in space, anything that's got any sort of propulsion, anything that requires energy to live, at some point ceases to exist. Where does that energy go?
Yeah, exactly. So like the branch out of energy. This is where my famous lightning is ghosts theory comes from. But also just when
famous, you guys.
Yeah, we've got 100 of listeners. Okay. No, but like when I think of as a nihilist myself, I without thinking of things as developing with some sort of divine purpose or like a god to do stuff, all I could think about is energy branching out into all these different things, grasses, plants, animals, all just sort of evolving into these big things. And eventually we come around and we're just like self-reflective, weird meat puppets.
Right.
You know that song, Backwater, Meat Puppets? Fucking,
Oh,
we're just these weird, like, globs of meat with fucking electricity in us, and we're able to perceive and understand, or at the very least, perceive a limited dose of what is around us. That really bakes my noodle, honestly.
It's a tough thing to think about, but, we're going to get into a little bit of brain function here in a very, very fucking remedial way. But firstly, this was kind of a tough topic in terms of keeping everything under the same umbrella, just in general. The umbrella, I guess, of brain shittiness, because that's really what it boils down to.
You're welcome.
I want to say, full disclosure, I don't believe that there's any credibility to the Mandela effect.
I'd want to say that too.
I think that there are simpler explanations.
I do have a dose of credence for it.
Okay. Well, I'm a big Occam's razor kind of girl. So like,
I've always been like a Venus, like Venus slick,
Venus
lotion razor.
I just think there are simpler explanations, and I think that the simplest explanation is that brains, for all the incredible things that they're capable of from a processing and abstract thought perspective, there are like some really glaring shortcomings like baked into our little brain cakes. So, it's fine, but that's just our brains are kind of dumb.
I mean, I kind of fall in between. I mean, I don't think that there's necessarily credence to the Mandela effect itself, but I'm not discounting it completely as a possibility. And I do think, like some of the theories, like whether it be like quantum, whatever, entanglement or disengagement or simulation theory, like I think there's credence to those theories themselves. Like people misremembering the
string
Berenstain
theory
Bears.
of alternate timelines and all that shit.
I don't think that like people remembering the Berenstain Bears or whatever is necessarily evidence.
Right.
It's a very simple
absolutely.
explanation.
Yeah, it's that you've seen Steen a million times and not Stain so many
Right,
times,
exactly,
and you just fucking fell for that. Okay, that's all super simple. The credence that I give to like the Mandela effect, again, anybody who hasn't been
Is
listening,
that I was at his funeral in the 80s.
It's named after Nelson Mandela because he like supposedly died in
we're
the
gonna go into
1980s.
that. Yeah.
And he fucking did not. But
No.
like there are instances in my own life where I've evidenced things that have happened and been positive of them happening, and then years later they're different. Like just things have, and yes, okay, it's like very easily my misremembering. But like here, here's a real weird, simple example. Okay, I remember very, very clearly when the when the singer T-Pain died.
What?
Yes, this was roughly, let's see, my daughter was not yet born, so this is about 14 years ago.
He started doing Sabbath songs. He didn't die.
Okay, just hear me out. And I know what you're talking about because I've seen that video too. It looks great.
When was this?
Really
what
good.
year?
It was about 14 years ago, so I would say like 2016.
Okay.
So I'd say about 2016, the rapper Tallahassee Payne.
That's not 14 years ago.
What? 2016?
That's 9 years ago.
What? Well, what's 14 years ago then?
2011.
2011. Cool. Fucking great. Whatever. You didn't have to correct me. You just fucking just say the shit.
I don't want people thinking
I
you're
don't
dumb.
do. I'm dumb. I don't do the math. Anyway, so Tallahassee Payne dies, right? I can't remember the exact instance. I believe it was a heart attack, right?
What?
No, listen. No, hear me out.
Okay.
Because I remember an entire slew of radio, because we listened to the radio. My ex-wife and I would drive around a lot and listen to the radio at the time. I remember that because she didn't have a fucking CD player in her car.
Okay.
Right? It was like a fucking, what were those, Geos?
AM FM radio with a tape deck?
Yeah, I think tape deck.
Nice.
I didn't have any tapes. But T-Pain died, so they played a fuckload of T-Pain, right? And also at the same time, I believe Eminem came out with an album with another rapper. The album was called, I think, Bad Meets Evil. It's not very good, I can't remember who the other rapper is. It's a team up,
Mhm.
but I distinctly remember there being like a little bit of a kerfuffle because that other rapper references T-Pain in a negative way in one of the songs, and people were like, yo, he just died. That's not fucking cool. All of these things are an experience that I had, that I went through, and then about 4 years ago, I saw that video of T-Pain fucking do the acapella singing where he sings like In Love with the Stripper and all this
Buy
shit.
you a drink.
Yeah. And I was like, oh man, R.I.P. And so I can't remember who said it. I was like, he's not dead.
Does your ex-wife have this same memory? Have you ever
That
asked
was
her?
my
No.
Do you remember T-Pain dying and we were riding around in the car listening to T-Pain?
She won't. That's the thing. Like when
Right,
shit like
'cause it
this
didn't
happens, the other
happen.
people don't. But like that's my entire experience with it, right? So whether or not it happened is only relevant to me because I had this experience, right? But that event, happening or not happening, in my experience,
Didn't happen, for sure.
was relevant in my life and affected me in some way. So either I'm completely fucking insane, which is very possible,
Very.
or there is a completely other thing that happened. Maybe it's a dream that like rewired some thought process of mine.
I know what it is. We're gonna get into it.
Is it that I'm a big dumb bitch?
Well, one of the things, and this might explain a little bit of why people are so reticent to admit that maybe they're misremembering things, right? So one of the things that's baked into our shitty brain cakes, it has more to do with psyche and sort of, if you want to get philosophical about it, it's ego, right? Our ego tends to lead us to believe that our brain is working at 100% full capacity, perfection, in the face of pretty frequent evidence to the contrary, right? We tend to think that like we're the smartest, we're the best,
Yeah.
we remember the most,
Especially nowadays.
Yeah.
right? And it's just not fact. I mean, if anything, like I said, there's frequent evidence to the contrary that your brain isn't doing so fucking great on the memory side of things. But before we get into it, I'm gonna try not to get like super bogged down in the science and psychology of this because it can get into like some very like graduate level concepts. And I don't want to make our listeners feel like we're fucking like they're sitting here auditing a MIT level fucking.
All of our listeners
class.
are geniuses. That's why they listen to us.
Yeah. I want to
And
listen
I
to
wanna
a
be
podcast
clear.
that makes me feel like I'm auditing a fucking MIT graduate level cognitive psychology class, please.
Yeah, why don't
That's
you,
what I do for
if
fun.
If you want wacky hijinks, listen to the Bretton Woods episode. Talk about fucking financial agreements from the 1940s.
We are going to keep this light and breezy as much as possible, right?
I want to be clear. I'm glad that T-Pain is alive.
Oh, well, that's
I
good.
like T-Pain.
That's good. Good.
I didn't know I liked T-Pain until I saw what you're referencing, the Tiny Desk.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy shit, this guy has real talent.
I remember how
Incredible talent.
I remember
Yeah.
how I found out that he was still alive.
Mm.
Our friend Tim Valley was like his security guy. And I was like, "You're touring with fucking who? In a hearse? What are you talking about?"
Is he a mummy? Is he a performing mummy? So, all right. So Mandela effect. Let's go ahead and jump into this one and we'll sort of web out from there, right? This was not an easy episode to keep in one category, but all right. The whole concept of the Mandela effect originated in 2009 by a woman named Fiona Broome, right? What would you guess if you had to guess what Ms. Broome's field of study is?
Cleaning.
Politics.
It's ghosts.
Ghosts.
Okay.
She's a self-professed paranormal investigator.
Oh, dope.
Yeah, so immediately red flag, right? In 2009, she finds out that Nelson Mandela, former South African activist who was imprisoned during apartheid and was released at around the time apartheid ended, and then later the president of South Africa, she finds out that he's still alive despite having this memory of him dying in the 80s, right? So she initially dismissed it as misremembering it, but then at some point she brings it up to a security guard at a science fiction and fantasy convention she's attending.
Yeah.
I don't know why you're talking about Nelson Mandela at a science fiction and fantasy convention, but okay. Honestly, dude, if you offered me money to make up a ridiculous backstory, like about where this phenomenon originated, I couldn't have been, I don't think I'm capable of being as ridiculous as this very real origin story. Like, I would have at least been like, I got to make it kind of believable. I can't make it a paranormal investigator at a science fiction and fantasy convention talking about Nelson Mandela to a security guard. That's too ridiculous. Nobody will believe this. Like, I can make it a little absurd, but this is too fucking absurd. So, like I said, she brings it up to...
It would be more absurd is she cosplaying at this time? Because if the security guard is dressed as Worf, right? And she's wearing like a fucking... The princess from the Neverending Story outfit.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's a more ridiculous and more fun backstory.
It's 2009. She was probably dressed like Arwen of Rivendell. She was...
Solid.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Well, anyway, like I said,
she roll the R.
Arwen. She brings it up to this security guard, like I said, and turns out he remembers Nelson Mandela dying too.
Because he killed him.
Then she talks to some more people, and she finds out that some of them have similar memories to her, including some of the specific details that she remembers involving riots in some of the cities in South Africa and Nelson Mandela's widow giving a speech, things like that. She finds that these people have this sort of shared false memory because he wasn't dead. So Broom gets home from her convention, right? And she creates a website for people to discuss these memories that seemingly don't coincide with reality, right? And she coins it the Mandela effect. So over time, thousands of comments end up popping up with a lot of people, again, having this shared memory and, you know, and people adding things like, oh, well, what about this? Well, I don't remember this. You know what? Like,
I remember he was white.
Yeah. So, but yeah, specific details, you know, during and in the aftermath of his quote unquote death. And this ends up going viral. This website, this blog, whatever, I don't know what the fuck. And you know how it goes. Once the internet has a hold of it and it's quote unquote viral, it's just gone forever. So,
you know what's weird?
What?
I seem to remember the Mandela effect being a thing long before 2009.
Oh, we got a Mandela effect about the Mandela effect.
Irrefutable proof of the Mandela effect.
Right
there.
I don't think you know what proof is, bud. So naturally, it's strange. I mean, I'll admit that it's strange. Again, I think it can all be explained by brain equals dumb, but it's, you know, it's strange. Not so much the memory of Mandela dying, like this shared memory, but like the specific details surrounding it seems kind of strange. Like people remembering riots and speeches and stuff like that. You're like, okay.
There's a theory that I like a lot. I don't even know so much the theory is more of like a science fiction concept. You know, dimensional bleeding is like one of those things, like multiple different dimensions where we exist in the same realm, like fucking soap bubbles floating through space, right? And then they collide and just like it pop off, like bounce off of each other. But like some simplistic little like thing might shift over into the other dimension,
like you with T-Pain.
Yeah, exactly, like me and T-Pain, or like this theory.
You and T-Pain went on a ride together, man.
I bet he'd be cool. To hang
I'm
with.
sure he's fucking super cool.
I could take to the Cheesecake Factory. Fucking cool dude. But like there's one that I really like that's about personal timelines, where you never experience your own death until you get to like the penultimate death, or the ultimate, not penultimate, it's next to last. You get to like the ultimate death. But in general,
talked about this.
Yeah, we've talked about this before. You know, like say like a friend of yours passes away young, you know, in their timeline, in their experience, they would have just narrowly avoided that. Right, and kept living their life. So like the theory would be that
your consciousness kind of persists.
Yeah, like all of my near-death experiences,
of
which there have been many.
Yeah, you've died.
I've died
to certain people
in some dimension or some relevant way. I would fucking die.
Remember, I was gonna write a story about this.
Yeah.
Basically, somebody who's aware of all of these like quantum deaths or whatever, but I didn't know how to break it into an actual story. It was just a dumb idea.
Yeah, it's a complicated one.
Yeah.
But like, you know, like I had this experience one time. I was driving at the time,
you could
like
shoehorn that into the show Quantum Leap and just have like
and bring the guy back. What was his name?
Quantum Death.
Fucking, what is his name? God damn it. It's my favorite guy. Scott Bakula.
Yeah, Bakula.
Yeah, Bakula fucking rules. But, dude, I was like,
well, now they have a new Quantum Leap with an Asian guy.
My
probably canceled already.
Wife and I were, probably. my wife and I were taking my, I think at the time, like 5 or 6 year old daughter to Disney World, to go to Epcot. We got to Epcot, did the whole day, and we're coming back, got a flat tire. I had this fucking Volkswagen Golf, right? But I was in like center traffic going like 85 when I got this flat tire.
Jesus.
Fucking, yeah, pretty tense. Traffic was a little heavy, but fucking got into the median, pull over, big swath of grass. Like, okay, everything's fine. I get out and like, hey, everybody okay? I look at my daughter, like through the window, and she's like, oh, we okay? I'm like, hey, we're fine. And then a massive Ford F-250 hauling a trailer full of shit just goes 80 miles an hour past me on the grass median. Just woof. Just because, like, whenever I slowed down to get over, it caused the backup, like the stack effect. He didn't see that shit. He had to fucking swerve over because he was, I don't know, drinking Coors Light and fucking listening to
too heavy
Skinner.
to stop. Yeah,
yeah, and he
changing
just
something on his
around.
radio.
And then, right there, I pink misted in front of my daughter. If I like in that timeline, I just poof, Dad's gone. That's that. Yeah, because I would have been obliterated.
Absolutely.
So I think about that all the time. Like, all right. That timeline, right? That it makes perfect sense because if I'd been 1 foot further back, boom, gone. So maybe, in one timeline I get hit there, but in my main core timeline, I'm still living, baby.
You know what? The reality is this is the timeline you're in. So the other shit doesn't matter. Who cares?
I'm the nihilist here, okay?
Jesus Christ. I just don't know. Listen, like I said, it's a little weird that some people remember, the sort of nuancy things surrounding his death, but I'll be honest with you, I didn't look up which specifics they referred to on her website, aside from the ones I mentioned, the riots and the widow's speech, because confirmation bias plays a big part into the psychology behind
I hate confirmations.
This behind explaining Mandela effect, there's a lot of confirmation bias that comes into it. So there's not a way to gauge how honest and sincere these comments on Fiona Broom's website are. You know what I mean? Some people are just going to do it just to feel like they're part of a group. Some people are going to do it because they honestly, that's their memory. Some people are going to do it because once it goes viral, it's like, oh, jump on, there's too many things there's too many variables, right?
Not only that, but like people, once I lost my train of thought. I'll cut that. Never mind. Go on. I completely lost whatever thought I had.
Apropos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I won't cut that.
You're proving my point about brains being dum-dums. So I think there's a way to rationalize most, if not all of these. Firstly, the level of detail that you remember about something starts with how much you're actually paying attention. You know what I mean? Were you a huge T-Pain fan when you found out T-Pain died?
No, not really.
Probably not. So
I was aware of his existence. I didn't dislike his music.
But I mean,
T-Pain was one of the few people that on the radio I would not go ugh and fucking change because at the time I was a hating ass bitch.
Right, but think about if
it wasn't fucking
at the time.
If it wasn't death metal, I wasn't fucking listening to it.
But you have to think about like how many times that you're cognizant of the times that you've heard a thing and you've misconstrued it with something else. And then in that very same conversation, somebody's like, no, I said this. And you're like, oh, I heard this. You know what I mean? If nobody's there to say, no, I said this, then now your brain's just cemented this memory of this thing that you misheard and you misremembered. But now that just carries on with you for however long before you get snapped out of it, Yeah,
that's fair.
And then you're used to that. I think that's what I was about to touch on when I forgot what I was doing. And once it's there, just like rattling around in your brain, it spends all that time like affirming itself.
Yeah, it just sort of cements itself in place. So, like I said, how much you pay attention to something has a lot to do with how well you remember a thing, right? I think that the simple fact that at the crux of a lot of these examples of Mandela effect, there were anti-apartheid riots in the 80s, a lot of them. There was a lot of outcry for Mandela to be released from prison in the 80s. He was actually released in February of 1990. So the very beginning, end of the 80s, beginning of the 90s, right?
And he was in jail for 20 years?
Something like that. Yeah, a long time. So Mandela's wife at the time was a very famous anti-apartheid activist in the 80s, and she gave a lot of fucking speeches, many of them being newsworthy. She had a lot of really shocking speeches. She was a lot more on the let's fucking kill them side of it, the anti-apartheid movement, like fucking kill all the white people. So a lot of her speeches were newsworthy because she'd say some off the cuff crazy fucking shit.
You got to figure like with her taking the limelight too while he's in jail, maybe that's another.
They think like,
motivating.
she's taken over because
exactly.
he's dead. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So like I said, depending on your age at the time, depending on how much you give a shit, that's how specifically you're going to remember details. I couldn't find Fiona Broom's age exactly, but based off of sort of context clues, what I could dig up, I'm assuming she was born late 50s, early 60s. So she wasn't young,
Like all of us, I don't think any of us.
But I mean, in the 80s, she was 20 something, early 30s, late 20s, early 30s, paranormal investigator. She claims she started in 1978.
Oh, she's getting in early, pre-Ghostbusters.
So she's already working on publishing things at that point in her life. How much does that person care? How much is that person paying attention to political strife in South Africa?
That's fair. I bet 1978 was a fucking wild time to be a paranormal investigator, man.
Yeah.
The Amityville Horror,
that's post The Exorcist, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you get to get Exorcist.
Exorcist came out around that time. Wasn't it like late 70s?
78, 79.
Yeah.
But then Ed and Lorraine Warren are fucking popping around doing shit at the time. Are you familiar with the Warrens?
I don't think so.
Like Catholic paranormal investigators are real big at the time.
Yeah.
Exorcist was 73.
73.
Wow.
Which is earlier than I thought it was.
I remember it being an early
later.
film for violent crucifix masturbation. That's wild. 73. But yeah, it must have been a crazy time to be a paranormal investigator because ghosts were still real fucking scary at the time.
The Exorcist was a scary fucking movie.
I
remember watching that shit.
Dude.
Yeah. I remember watching that shit as a kid and being like, the thing I'm scared about could be anywhere at any time. That's fucking way more scary than Freddy Krueger or Jason or whatever the fuck, Michael Myers.
My favorite part of that movie is when fucking the demon Pazuzu. It's good name. Pazuzu turns into Father Damien Karras's mother. Tied up. He goes, Demi, why you do this to me? Demi. That shit, because it cuts to his face and he's like, no. I love that shit.
Back to the topic here. I have vague memories of Nelson Mandela in the 80s. I think I was on the other side of the whole...
the apartheid struggle.
Of the... Yes. At the age of 7, I was like, you know what? We deserve this land.
This country going to the dogs.
No, I was on the other side of the age gap thing. So I'm assuming what she and others remember was the lead up to Nelson Mandela's release in 89, 90. So in 90, but the lead up was in 89. So I would have been 8 years old. I definitely remember him on the news. I don't remember his death. I don't necessarily remember not his death. You know what I mean? Like I don't remember, he's very much alive. I don't remember specifics.
It was like
I just
a news
remember
thing,
him
but it wasn't
on the news,
like
right?
super relevant to you.
Yeah, I was young. I didn't give a fuck about South African politics. So I will say that by the time...
Typical.
You're a shitty 8-year-old. By the time the Mandela effect came into my orbit, I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I didn't think that Mandela was dead. He was the president of South Africa when I was in high school. I remember learning about him, going from political prisoner to president. Also, as a soccer fan, I remember him being at the World Cup when it was in South Africa. I think that was the 2010 World Cup.
Oh yeah, that's the Invictus.
Yeah. No.
No?
That was rugby.
Oh shit, I don't know.
Invictus
Matt
was
Damon.
rugby.
I also don't know anything about sports, guys. As the probably autistic one in the room, I don't know anything about sports or numbers. Okay.
Well, so when people started talking to me about they'd be like, "Oh, don't you remember Nelson Mandela dying like back in the 80s?" I very confidently was like, "No, he just died a few years ago." Like it was probably like 2018-ish when I first heard of Mandela effect.
That's a great point, actually, because I also never had the Mandela effect of fucking Mandela
specifically.
Being dead.
Well, you and I were too fucking young.
Way too young for that.
Yeah. So
I mean, Patrick was too young too, but you and I were like
even
toddlers.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, in 80, well, you guys were probably born around that time, right? 89?
88?
I'm 88.
Yeah, we're both 88.
Yeah, so yeah, you guys definitely didn't remember fucking 1990. What are you doing at 2 years old?
Me?
Yeah. Super into South African
Crime
politics.
And Punishment.
Super into South African politics.
Yeah, I was waving a South African flag, screaming Mandela's name in diapers. Mandela.
Well,
Nelson.
We'll talk. I'm going to wait to see if you bring it up, but we'll talk about the one that actually fucks with my brain a little bit.
I'm going to bring a bunch up once I get through the studies here, right? So now that we have established the history of this phenomenon, I want to talk a little bit about the science that explains why it exists, because again, it effectively boils down to your brain sucks way harder than you think it does, you cocky little twat. And that's just it. So we'll dive into this a little bit and then we'll get into specific examples. So firstly, there are multiple explanations for Mandela effect because brains are miraculously complicated. Like, as much as I'm talking shit about brains being dumb, the shit that your brain does is fucking insane.
Yeah, there's still no kind of processing power or computer that can do what the human brain does. It's fucking psychotic.
It can with like an entire small city's worth of fucking energy.
Kind of, sort of, but not in the same
configuration. Not off of a fistful of peanuts and some water.
It's pretty ridiculous in general.
The way that synapses work.
Yes,
the complexity, the complexity of information processing.
Just the way that the brain processes at such a minuscule area of just fucking lightning speed. It's insanity.
Also, AI operates with the entirety of human knowledge at its fingertips. We process
without any of the enjoyment for dick jokes.
We process information
so far
with a limited amount of information that's already in our brain, a lot of which is false.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, but
so we have to jump to a lot of conclusions. We have to bridge a lot of gaps. There's a lot of crazy shit that happens in our brains.
I've always had this. I'm going to do a lot of fucking Riley theories. If you haven't been listening, I'm fucking weird, and I say I say weird shit because my brain's fucking. I'm ADD as shit. My brain's constantly going, and I'm incorporating all of the sci-fi fantasy bullshit I ever read into the science stuff I read. But it's always like occurred to me. I fucking lost my train of thought.
Dude, all right, it's spreading.
What is
it's not just me.
today?
It's getting weird.
You know, don't cut any of these. Leave all these because
I'm going to leave it.
Where were we? Because I did have a good point there.
You're ADD.
I'm ADD.
You are ADD.
Before that, I say weird
You're weird.
shit. I'm always talking about odd stuff. Fucking lost it. Totally lost it. All right, keep going.
I never lost what, Riley?
Was it based off of me saying the complexities of information processing in our brain?
Yeah.
That's what you jumped off of.
Yeah, I had something going there.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, then we'll get. I'm sure it'll pop.
Back up. Yeah.
So brains miraculously complicated, especially when we talk about memory, right? So we'll take these explanations one at a time. Starting with in 2022, the University of Chicago conducted a study on visual Mandela effect, which relates specifically to visual icons. And basically, what they found was evidence that something called schema theory, from the Latin to shape, schema theory of memory could be the explanation. Essentially, this theory says that people use schemata, which is the plural of schema, shapes, to sort of categorize similar things in our brains, right? So objects that have commonalities kind of go in the same file folder in your brain, and this process helps your brain to interpret and predict the world and draw conclusions for decision-making if information is missing.
Got it. So we all collectively were born pre-internet, right? And there was a definite time where we didn't have information at our fingertips in any respect.
No.
We just operated off of the information.
Well into my teens.
Yeah, we operated off of the information that was given to us, oftentimes very incorrectly by somebody. Like, I grew up with my dad just fucking spouting information about movies and fucking comic books and shit, and that all just like lays in my memory.
Marilyn Manson had his ribs surgically removed so he could suck his own
exactly.
dick. Everybody believed that for a long time.
Why not believe it? Even if the internet says no, that one's still sticking around.
Right.
But like as time has progressed, like I've always thought that we use technology as a sort of evolutionary tool. The same way that ants use pheromones to communicate, we now have cell phones and things like that. We don't have ESP, but we've got this technology that advances the same process, like sort of non-genetic ESP sort of situation, which with text messaging is very true. Like, we're in each other's brains all the time.
Sure.
So now we've got more generations that have been born with the internet, with the ability to understand things at all times through like this information. Mm-hmm. So maybe their brains are going to process information differently.
I think that's already happening.
I think it's happening very much. Yeah. Like the way that kids have shorter attention spans, don't want to read books as much, stuff like that. I think that might just literally be evolutionary, like selective process.
Sure. That's just brain formation. And I mean, different stimuli is going to cause brains to evolve differently, or at least to operate differently.
So maybe
I don't want to make the case for evolution because that's a big jump.
Faster evolution through technology is a whole thing.
The difference in stimuli is certainly going to cause your brain to process and operate
Right.
differently.
Well,
That's not a huge jump.
I wonder if we wouldn't be able to know this for some time yet,
Long
but
time.
I wonder if the Mandela effect is going to decrease with the incoming generations because they didn't have to process hearsay and pseudo information just for months and years at a time before they
get
found
more
more
of
that
that.
would assume that everything on the internet is correct and factual.
No, that's completely opposite, actually. Doesn't matter if it's correct or factual if they can look it up. If it's there to look at without being altered, then they would have to process that.
Yeah, but
differently.
now
I
we
mean,
got shit
different
like
people-
AI generated
Yeah.
images and video that are
Some
getting more
people
and more
just
convincing.
some
Yeah,
people
but hear
just
me out.
digest, especially with social media. Some people just digest what's in front of them. They don't actually look to see if that thing that was just in their face is accurate.
Let's say some people,
19
let's say a good portion of people.
In 1995, if you didn't have a computer and you, in your head, picture Captain Planet... What? Yeah, you.
That
Okay.
was me.
You picture Captain Planet as having like a brush cut. That's the character that's going to be in your head until you see an episode of Captain Planet, and maybe not even then.
And you're
But like
oh,
that's
high
where
top.
it is,
White guy, high top.
right? So, but if you're today and you're like, I wonder if Captain Planet's got a brush cut, you can type in Captain Planet brush cut. There's probably a picture of that.
Probably.
So that effect, that like pseudo information, like fucking, I don't know if this is
You can
true
probably
or not.
type in Captain Planet sucking his own dick and get out some cool deviant art.
Hold on, give me a second. No, I'm just saying that like that confirmation bias, right, is no longer a factor in perceiving the outside world because anything that you remember, you can look up and be like, I must have gotten it there.
If you're going to do that work.
Yeah.
That's the clincher there. Is are you actually going to look it up? Or are you just going to fucking digest what was put in your face?
Why wouldn't I? It's already in my head.
Well, a lot of people don't though.
I'm already looking up Captain Planet sucked his own dick. What if that one's got a brush cut? Think that's a cleaner look for blowing yourself?
Yeah, you might have to actually create that art. I don't know. That's a lot of
Get Chat GPT to
yeah,
do
a lot
it.
of
Yeah.
adjectives in there. So,
I'll submit that one to my favorite deviant artist.
but so my favorite deviant artist. So that was broad strokes of schema memory in general. So basically, the way to break it down, if you encounter a situation you've never been in before, you have this file of similar experiences to draw from and fill in the blanks because this is kind of like that. And if that worked out a certain way, I can draw certain aspects of that decision-making process to help create a positive outcome for this situation, if that makes sense. There's a lot of environmental aspects that affect the way that we categorize things. It's not an exact way that everyone does it, right? Upbringing goes into that. Socioeconomic status goes into that. Cultural background goes into that. All these things have an effect on how your brain categorizes things. So in terms of narrowing that concept down to this University of Chicago study of visual Mandela specifically, if your memory operates in this way, right, and specific things go into specific files in your brain, it would explain conflating one thing as another and thusly remembering that first thing. Does that make sense?
No.
It sounds convoluted and confusing, but I have an example, right?
Okay.
So one of the more popular Mandela effect examples is the Monopoly Man, right?
The monocle.
People remember him having a monocle,
Uh-huh.
but apparently he never had one.
Interesting.
And lots of people are confused by that.
Do you remember that?
I can see it in my head.
Now I'm
That's-
going to use schema memory theory on both of you. What's another similarly animated cultural icon that we saw on the TV pretty frequently, but not like
Pringles
so
guy.
much that it was Pringles guy? Actually, I didn't even think about that one.
no,
where-
the Peanuts guy.
Mr.
Sorry.
Peanut.
The Planner's Peanut Man,
Yeah.
right?
I think that's what I meant.
Wearing a hat and a top hat and a cane, right?
Right.
So based on this memory theory, it's not far-fetched to assume that these two images that were iconic to a lot of people's childhoods, but not like so frequently shoved down our throats that we're looking at the images on a daily basis, that we would have conflated those two things in our brain.
Sure.
That's one explanation for how these things get conflated if you subscribe to this schema memory theory
Okay.
of things that are similar kind of go in this box. And
So-
then these things
And
that
your,
are
and your
similar go in
brain's
this
just
box.
like smushing shit together to make space for other stuff.
Precisely,
Yeah.
precisely.
So which one is it? Was Monopoly Man just has the top hat,
He never had a monocle. Yeah, he's got a top hat and a cane.
mustache?
Yep.
Mr. Peanut monocle?
Mr. Peanut, monocle, top hat, cane.
Huh.
No mustache.
Damn.
Yeah.
So this is one where I don't remember. You could tell me either.
I don't think Pringles guy had a monocle.
No. I meant that. I think the Peanuts
The
guy.
peanut guy, yeah.
Monopoly guy. You could have told me either, and I would have been like, Are you sure? Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's
He's
another
got a
thing.
coat with tails.
That's another thing is, people are subject to sort of this external pressure of, yeah, you remember that, and you're like, I guess I remember that. And then now you've implanted this memory of the monocle on the fucking Monopoly guy.
The visual one that gets me that still fucks with my head is the Fruit of the Loom thing.
I have that one. That one's one of the ones that I'm like, fuck. I think, an explanation for it. I think I have an explanation for it.
I remember the cornucopia.
I think I have an explanation for it, but we'll get into that.
I'm interested.
Okay. Another possible explanation for these false memories is that they're created by sort of a mishmash of confabulation where your brain fabricates things as compensation for loss of memory, which your brains do a lot. What?
Mishmash of confabulation.
Mishmash of confabulation. So
all right.
Fucking complicated name, but hell yeah.
Drew's putting it on the list right now. All right,
you're going to fucking stumble over saying your own...
Mishmash of confabulation.
Yeah, you're going to stumble over saying your own band's name at every show. You're gonna
no.
Hey guys, we're Mishmash of confabulation. Fuck.
That is going to be a very like Sun Boris kind of dome.
Yeah.
Mishmash of confabulation.
So like I said, it's a mishmash of not only confabulation, but other things. So confabulation is where your brain fabricates like specific little things to bridge this gap that like to compensate for memory loss, right? And your brain just does this automatically.
Yeah.
It's just how your brain operates.
So when you look from one end of the room to the other, your eyes stop operating for a quick second in that time, and then your brain just fills in that space that you just saw as you crossed your head.
So
or not even that, just it fills up the space right here.
Yeah, just real quick,
between your eyeballs, like at the bridge of your like the bridge of your nose and all that.
Another part of this mishmash.
I can see my nose. God damn it!
In addition to confabulation, another part of this is it's combined with confirmation bias, right? The whole fucking Luke, I am your father thing. Every one of us has heard that quote that is 100% not in The Empire Strikes Back, right? Every one of us has heard somebody saying that, right? Darth Vader says, no, I am your father. Again, though.
I'm sorry, he says, no, I am your father.
Right.
Get it right.
Sorry, I didn't put
that. He's not
idiot.
that fucking, he's, no, I am your father. It's not.
No, I'm your father.
Yeah, just like that.
That's what he says.
No, it can't be. It's impossible.
Me, I'm your daddy.
It's not true. No.
So when I was growing up,
fucking Luke jumping down that hole in my brain.
Yeah, it's so stupid.
He's like, no.
So when I was growing up, Star Wars movies were like enormously popular. I was born in 81.
Yeah, and they're cool as shit too.
So
the original movies are so good.
So what? The first New Hope was 77. Empire was 80.
It's 78.
And
78.
77.
77.
It was 77. I'm not even looking that one up.
I know for sure. They were 3 years apart, and I know for sure. 77 for A New Hope. Empire was 80, and Return of the Jedi was 83. Fucking at me, bro. Look it up. Look it up, son. This is an example of Riley's shitty brain.
Fuck you. Boring conversation anyway.
We all have shitty brains. We're just proving it. Like, honestly, this is the whole episode is just proving how shitty at least our brains are, but yours too, if you're listening. So those movies were super popular. And like, dude, don't even get me started on fucking misquoting movies or music. Like, take a movie or sing a song that you've watched or listened to hundreds of times, right? But maybe a few years have passed since the last time you've watched this movie or you've sung this song. This happened to me literally just the other day. A song came on that used to be like regular rotation of my playlist. And there was a time at least where I knew every fucking word. And this song comes on, I haven't listened to it in years, and I'm singing along and I'm fucking up all the lyrics. And I'm like, shit, I used to know this song like the back of my fucking hand.
Right.
Same thing with movies. Movies that you've watched 100 times. I'm sure you've done this before. And then you haven't watched them in a while. You pop them in again or it's on the TV or whatever. And you think you're like, I could recite this fucking whole movie quote for quote. And then, little nuancy things get jumbled and you're like, fuck that quote up.
That's actually,
I have the general, that's the thing about this is you have the general information. It's just those little specifics. That's confabulation.
one of my things, I'm like a big trivia guy, obviously. Fucking, that's sort of my roll here even.
Uh-huh.
But like I've always been particularly good with certain facts and figures and particularly bad with others. Like I'm
Right.
not good with dates, numbers, things like that. Like to the point of disturbance. Like I cannot fucking remember that shit.
Like when the Star Wars movies came out.
Yeah, exactly. But I could give you every other fucking quote in the whole goddamn thing. But like there's another thing that could be related to this phenomenon is like I've always been very bad in school, particularly bad in school. I fail all my classes all the time. But if you give me like an instructional video on something and I can watch it twice, I'm good. I'm golden.
Right.
If I can remember, especially if it's entertaining, like I could do fucking anything you need off of a video forever. But if you give me a book I do not care about, it will not be done. Like I just cannot.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's similar. I didn't fail every class, but it was a struggle for me to get good grades.
Yeah, dude. But I fucking we could talk about comic book artists or fucking actors. When I watch a movie now and I am like, I don't remember that. It's usually something really minute, like a color or a camera angle or like a cool fucking gimmick that the director's doing or some shit. As far as like actors' performances and quotes and stuff like that, I'm always just like right there.
Yeah.
Except that Jurassic Park thing.
What was the Jurassic Park thing?
You fucked up Gennaro.
Gennaro
whatever.
shows up in the beginning and then you never see him again for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, see, those director thing.
What?
Yeah.
No. What are you talking
They
about?
swapped the actors, obviously. This is a Mandela effect. Hey, if you're a fucking Gennaro supporter with me, like the Gennaro effect, guys, get with me because you know what I'm talking about.
He literally has like the most iconic death in the movie.
Yeah, the death you remember. But what you don't remember is the guy who looks like Ricardo Montalban that plays him right at the beginning when they're going into the cave to find the amber. You don't remember that, but that's my Mandela effect, man.
I feel like you're thinking of the guy at the beginning of
Jurassic Park.
No, you're thinking of the guy at the beginning of Indiana Jones and the Lost Ark.
Raiders.
It is possible.
It's the same fucking Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's the same. I'm like right now I'm blowing my own mind.
He's looking at the artifact.
And it's the same outfit and everything.
And it's the same shit. Fuck.
That's what it is. See how
it's
fucking
Spielberg.
wacky brains are?
You see what I'm talking about? It's fucking weird it's weird director shit. It's Spielberg fusing his own fucking actions and shots.
Oh my god. Yeah, kind of.
God damn it.
So but like back to my whole thing about like quoting movies or quoting music or whatever. You know the movie or the song well enough that even if you know the contents of the line coming up, the quote coming up, the chorus of the song coming up, whatever, you have the information there, you know the contents, you might get the actual words incorrect. Your brain has lost part of that memory. And so it fabricates something that's essentially the same, but it's not exact, right?
Your brain's just doing a random generation the same way that
basically,
like AI does.
That's confabulation.
Yeah.
So add to that confirmation bias on top of all that, and you've got a shared false memory, right? A couple of kids in the neighborhood start saying, "Luke, I am your father," while you're fucking playing outside, and suddenly everybody's saying, "Luke, I am your father," and then before you know it, it feels like an accurate memory, and everybody remembers saying, "Luke, I am your father."
Were this couple of kids making trouble in the neighborhood?
In my neighborhood, 100%. That's all.
Getting one little fight, and mom gets scared.
It's the worst song. God, I hate it.
You remember every word, though?
No, I don't.
Oh, yeah?
No, white people remember every word of that song. I hate it.
You're white people.
But this is a great explanation for the Star Wars example. It's a great explanation for the mirror, mirror on the wall instead of magic mirror on the wall. It's just these little tiny nuancy things.
Which one is it? I don't know this
magic
one.
mirror on the wall.
It's not mirror, mirror?
No, it's magic mirror on the wall.
See, all right. But that's definitely been referenced as mirror, mirror. In like
many other things,
media since then.
You know what I think it would be? It's in like the
same
fucking,
thing with the Luke. I am your father.
Yeah,
thing.
once it catches and then it becomes part of like a popular zeitgeist sort of thing.
I think it's on the Disney Channel.
TV and it's on whatever.
On the Disney Channel when they would have the magic mirror like pop up and like say things between shows, which was like a big thing throughout the 90s. They would say mirror, mirror on the wall. That was so that's how it gets into the the zeitgeist there.
Yeah. Huh. It's all it takes is like, and that's the thing. A lot of these that we're gonna reference, they're just such small, nuancy things that it's like this isn't even a thing. It's just you misheard something, or you know what I mean. Like, we'll get into it here in a second. I got just a little bit more on this. So those two things are like the best scientific explanations that we have. beyond that, there's, string theory, parallel dimensions. We're all living in a simulation stuff, which is cool.
I like the yada yadas.
Which is cool and interesting from a fucking sci-fi perspective. There's no way to scientifically prove any of that.
That's what I was saying before, though, about us being fucking electric meat. Like, it's not even more sci-fi to say that kind of shit than it is to really live in the reality of our existence.
All I'm saying is there's no scientific method for proving or disproving parallel dimensions or fucking we're in a simulation type shit. There's not a way to prove or disprove that. So anyone fucking telling you otherwise is full of shit.
Unless they figure it out.
I guess, unless they have a whole warehouse full of snake oil that they've got for you if you want.
You can make oil out of snakes?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
How do you do that?
I've got a whole warehouse.
I'm impressed.
I'll sell it to you for cheap, dude.
Yeah?
Cheap.
I'll trade you for a bridge.
A whole bridge?
No, but like, dude, like everything.
That's a pretty good deal.
This is another thing about the confirmation bias thing that bugs me when we're talking about topics like this, because all around us right now we've got fucking electricity harvested out of fucking just madcap alchemy. Human beings make all these fucking look, the things we're talking into, the shit that we're talking about. Okay, it's all sciencey stuff, but it's also psychotic. And just because
it's not
we don't
that
understand,
crazy if you understand the process.
well, that's the whole thing. You would never understand the process until it's developed. So all of like the ideas.
No, it was developed because people who were smarter than us understood the process of electrons.
Yeah, you think everyone that was working with electricity to start with knew about electrons?
No, the people who developed the process of creating electricity. They knew.
Okay, sure. Yeah, wrong.
The people who developed the process of creating electricity.
Yeah, you think that they knew what electricity was?
No, they knew how to harness it, though.
Okay, so they were like, oh, electrons, definitely.
Yeah.
No, they were like, this metal does this thing, and it made that. And then later we figured out what electrons and shit were because we had access to electricity.
I think
no. We knew about electrons before the fucking 1800s when we started harnessing electricity.
Okay.
We knew about
All right.
atoms and protons and neutrons.
Sure.
Maybe not. I don't know.
Okay.
Fuck.
Yeah, you don't fucking know jack.
I really don't.
Yeah. Like the Baghdad battery? You think they were talking about electrons?
were discovered by J.J. Thomson in 1897.
Cool.
Which would be after electricity.
Yeah.
See?
Fuck.
Yeah, like
Weird.
we can work within processes and
He's
then
actually right about this one.
retroactively figure stuff out. Yeah, because I'm fucking smart,
They're
dog.
literally back to back. Like it was right there.
Yeah, just like reverse engineering to find understanding is one of the things that humans have always done the best.
Reverse engineering.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway,
Possibly remembering forward. You know what I mean?
Listen, by the way, if you're listening to this still and you're saying,
If
about
you're listening
all
to this and you think Patrick's a stupid asshole and I'm smart, leave us a good review.
that those people don't exist. I would urge anybody who thinks that we're full of shit on this episode to research the complexities, like
Of
how
the human
complex
soul.
and misunderstood memory and the processes by which we store and recall memories are.
Yeah. And watch the movie Memento with Guy Pearce.
There's a reason why eyewitness accounts in criminal cases are not usually enough to convict on, right? It has to be corroborated with physical evidence.
Yeah.
Because people don't remember things very well.
Yeah, in the 60s and 70s, there was a huge, you couldn't call it like an epidemic, but hypnosis was a big deal at the time, and hypnosis testimony.
That's how my grandfather claimed to have stopped smoking.
Hypnosis testimony was a big deal in courts. In fact, like I don't think I'm really allowed to say the whole thing, but I have a family member who was kind of conflated in a legal situation in I think the 70s. That was like a whole big deal with hypnosis statements during court.
I mean, yeah, if you go back far enough, confessions under hypnosis were like a
They're
thing.
big
They'd bring
deal,
a
yeah.
hypnotist in to talk to a murderer and be like,
Yeah,
all right,
but like this,
he confessed under hypnosis, and it's like, what?
This particular family member of mine was accused of a crime, and somebody under hypnosis stated blanketly that they saw them doing the crime.
Oh.
Like no omission to it, like fucking boom, did it.
Right.
Right?
And then they said that they
but
were
it was like
also
all-
a Kakua.
Yeah, right. All other
I was gonna
evidence
say that's exactly like a fucking Kakua thing.
all other evidence said to the contrary, but because this person gave this evidence, there's like conviction and then overturning and ruling and like all this shit that happened because of that. But and then later hypnosis evidence was supplanted and is no longer admissible.
Well, yeah. I mean, listen, we don't remember things that good. That's why I was talking about like eyewitness accounts not reliable at all. Especially, by the way, when your brain's coping with the stress of witnessing a major crime. By the way, there is a term for that. It's called the Rashomon effect. You ready for this?
I know exactly what this is.
You know
as a
what?
matter of fact. Because Rashomon,
1950 Akira Kurosawa movie.
huge fucking fan, one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah.
Brilliant narrative story told
About-
from it's about a crime that was committed that is told from the perspective of several different characters.
4 different people who all witnessed this crime,
And it's
they all
fucking
have
awesome.
differing and very contradictory accounts of what happened.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
so that was called the Rashomon effect. There are some other ones.
There's another movie from not too long after that called Harikari. That's like the #1 rated narrative fiction on Letterboxd. That's the same kind of story that's told from like different perspectives, but it's a little more action, blood, fucking samurai shit. It's cool, cool as fuck. Check that out.
Yeah, there are some other ones. There's the Streisand effect, which is like
Does she have a great big ass nose and is annoying as fuck, or is she pretty? And
it refers to a phenomenon where attempts to suppress
she's a phenomenon, a feminine phenomenon.
Jesus Christ. Attempts to suppress information lead to greater public awareness of the information, which makes perfect sense. You don't need a whole name for that. But it was because back in 2003,
She had a bunch of semen pumped out of her stomach, and she tried to suppress that.
some photographer took a photo of her house and was using it in an article he was writing about like documenting, or I don't know if it was an article or a film or what, but he was documenting coastal erosion in California. And he took a picture of her house. And then she
It's coastal erosion,
took
like an
legal
architect.
action and tried to get the photo like taken down and not, whatever. And then by way of doing that, everybody became aware of what was going on.
Do you know what's special about Barbara Streisand's house?
What?
This is cool. She's got a basement, right? That happens to be a working mall
What?
full of stores and employees
What?
that only she goes to.
That doesn't sound real.
It is real.
That sounds like
it's
a
in
fucking
her
urban
goddamn
myth. No fucking way.
autobiography. She has employees that run stores because she loves to shop, but she can't go shopping because she's too famous.
God, fuck her.
So she will go down into her mall basement and go peruse at the stores that have all the fashions shipped in and all
Weird.
this shit. It's a functioning economy,
Weird.
and she will pay with money for things
Weird.
that just go back into her account.
Weird.
Yeah.
By the way, like I was saying earlier, if you're listening to all this and you're still going, no, it's not the way it works, you may be suffering from the Dunning-Kruger effect, which is a cognitive bias in which individuals with limited knowledge or competence in a specific domain overestimate their own abilities relative to objective criteria or the performance of others.
That's
in
the biggest one we've talked about so far in today's world.
in a delete everything talk, I believe that means you're a stupid asshole.
You're a stupid asshole, and you should shut up sometimes.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, maybe don't talk for the next week or two. So
Thank you for tuning in.
with all that being said, we're going to get into some specific Mandela effects now and see what we can come up with by way of an explanation for each of these, right? The first on the list. Again, this is one that I never fell for. Jif versus Jiffy peanut butter. A lot of people remember Jiffy peanut butter.
I could remember a Jiffy.
I grew up in a Jif house.
Yeah, I grew up.
I always knew it as Jif. I think people conflate Skippy and Jif.
Okay.
And they
Skippy
put 'em
also.
together
I'm not a
and
peanut butter guy.
Not a
Is
peanut
Skippy
butter
also
guy.
peanut butter?
What?
I prefer
Yeah,
I
Skippy
prefer
peanut
Peter
butter.
Pan. I've always been a Peter Pan fan.
Really?
Yeah.
I've
I
been
think
a
that's
Jif
what
guy
we
my
always.
whole life.
I think that's what we always had when we did have it. Was Peter Pan.
Yeah.
No, I'm a Jif guy.
I'm a Peter Pan enthusiast.
I still eat. I will frequently after dinner. I'll
Smother myself in fucking
it's
Jif peanut butter.
My dessert frequently after
Let the
dinner.
cats lick it off
is-
my teats.
I call it a PB&J hot dog. I take one piece of bread
Put it on your dick.
and I put peanut butter and jelly on it, and I just fold it, and then that's what I eat for dessert. Because the whole peanut butter sandwich after dinner seems like too
That's
much.
a lot. Yeah.
So with a big old glass of milk,
That just doesn't seem like a dessert to me.
Oh hey, you
peanut
can't-
butter and I use like ghetto grape jelly. I use like the fucking bottom rung like Smucker's squeeze bottle grape jelly.
Like PB&J is what I ate because we were poor. That's how I see PB&J. I don't know.
Well, same, but I mean, there's that nostalgia there.
That's how I feel about dirt.
Okay, so you guys don't remember specifically a Jif or a Jiffy?
No, not really. I mean,
Yeah.
like
I don't have a dog in that one.
I think it's pronounced GIF, right? GIF.
Actually, it's pronounced
GIF.
GIF,
GIF.
right? What does GIF stand for again?
Graphics interface format.
Okay, so it would be GIF.
Yeah.
Whatever. So how about Oscar Mayer, Meyer versus Oscar Mayer, Mayer?
My Baloney has a first name. It's O-S-C-A-R.
They only spelled the first name. They only spelled
My
the
Baloney
name.
has a
second name. It's M-E-Y-E-R.
Wait,
What? It's Mayer.
it is
Oscar
M-A-Y-E-R.
Mayer. M-E-M-E-Y-E-R.
Mayer is how
It's
it's spelled.
not M-A.
It
is
is.
it?
It's
Always
M-A.
been MA.
Mandela. I always thought My Baloney has a first name. It's fucking Baloney.
I thought the song only spelled the first name. I didn't know there was a second line.
No, it's
I
My
thought it was
Baloney has a second
O-S-C-A-R.
name. It's M-A-Y-E-R.
M-A-Y-E. Fuck.
A lot of
I eat
people remember.
bologna every day because Oscar Mayer has a way with B-O-L-O-G-N-A.
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
I didn't know any of that. I don't like bologna either.
That's
I
weird
don't-
that I
don't-
misspelled it and I know every other fucking word in this shit. That's crazy.
I try to stay away from processed meats, man.
The timeline you jumped over.
I'm not a
from.
hot dog guy either.
Yeah.
We've talked about this.
Hot dogs I think are the best staple food.
Ultra processed shit is bad for you, man.
Nah.
Super bad for you. Also, I could never get past the thought of like ground up nipples and buttholes in an intestinal casing.
Uh-huh. That doesn't bother me.
That one bugs me a little bit.
It doesn't bug
it
me.
doesn't
I
bother
mean,
me at
people,
all.
some people eat brains and shit.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, like if you're a cockwell, eat your fucking brains, scrape out the goop.
Scrape out the jelly.
I mean, like, but I'm also again like growing up poor, right? I'm a full like I will eat chicken and fucking chew the bones and shit.
sure.
I suck the marrow out of shit.
Yeah, that's fine. I like to use the bones to make a stock.
I grind the bones to
And
make
then
my bread.
To make your bread?
Do you not know that reference?
No.
Never mind. Weird that you don't, but
I don't
okay.
know that either.
It's the fucking Jack and the Beanstalk. No?
Is that what the giant
giant
says?
says,
Yeah, I'll grind
yeah.
your bones to make my bread.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just remember the fee fi fo fum.
B5
way back to
I smell
Mother
the blood of an
Goose.
Englishman.
Does that mean he couldn't smell, like if an American guy went up there, he couldn't smell him? If a Greek,
There wasn't America yet.
he couldn't smell his blood if it was a Greek man.
I mean, he would have been like, I smell the blood of a Greek man.
So he just knows based on blood where
Big
you're from.
fog, big bum.
How about this one? Sex in the City versus Sex and the City.
Yes, please. Oh,
Which
fuck.
one is it? Which one is
It's
it?
It's,
and,
it's Sex
right?
and the City. Yeah.
Sex and the City.
Yeah, I never watched that shit.
That one was another one that people like bring up. They're like, it was always Sex in the City. And I remember it was Sex and the City because I always assumed it was Sex in the City. When I was in my early 20s, I dated a girl who liked that show.
Having Sex in the City.
Whatever city, it didn't matter. No, she watched that show.
Plant City.
And I always Plant City, Florida. There's a strawberry festival.
Ybor
Fuck me.
City.
So
Strawberry Festival. Fuck me. Crescent City.
gross. Jesus Christ. Riley right now is naming some of the worst places in
Worst
Florida.
places in the world.
Crescent City, Plant City, both Central Florida, weird, gross Central Florida people in there. And then Ybor City, which is just outside of Tampa and is a crime-riddled hellhole.
Yes.
In Orlando.
Also, yes. In Jacksonville, where I live. I remember just assuming it was always Sex in the City. And then one day I was like, I don't know, around while she was watching it, like during the opening thing. And I saw Sex and the City. And I was like, it's Sex and the City? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, oh, weird.
You mean you didn't make it a whole thing where you like started a blog online about how you misremembered one's minute
It's always
detail?
been Sex in the... Well, and I saw something
I thought
where
it was
like...
sexing the city.
I saw something where it was like,
Because they seem to be fucking everyone in Manhattan.
the entire city, yeah. I remember I was reading something about the show and about people who think it was Sex in the City, and like somebody was referencing like, oh, I remember there was merchandise that said Sex in the City, and I was like, yeah, where is the photo? Like,
Or if there is, it's probably
it
fucking
existed,
bootleg
it's
from
secondhand. Yeah.
it's from Korea.
I lived in New York City when the fucking Sex and the City movie came out.
Yeah,
like the,
and you
the
were
first
like, I'm
one.
such a Carrie.
It was a huge
What are
phenomenon.
their names? I know Samantha. I know
Samantha,
Carrie,
Carrie,
Wasn't there a-
Sleepy,
Rodolphus,
Dopey,
Rodolphus, and
and
Veronica.
Ringo. But I lived in.
Was there an Attila? Well, there was an Attila in there, right?
Yes. But yeah, I lived in the city when the fucking movie came out. Dude, that shit was crazy. There were like
Shaggy, Scooby.
there were bitches wearing like pink pill fucking hats and shit. like weird, like super Sex of the City
What
fashions.
do you mean the bucket hat, the fuzzy bucket hat?
Yeah.
Like Jamiroquai?
Yeah. No, closer to like Jackie Onassis during the Kennedy assassination.
Oh, wow.
But like just like these fucking super fashion pink outfits all over the city. And then fucking like when the premieres were happening, they were like lined up for miles up and down the blocks. It was crazy. People were obsessed.
Dumb. Why?
Dumb.
I don't know. They're bad show. Bad show,
I
bad
guess,
movies.
you know what? Here's the thing. It's a bad show for me because it's not catered to me.
The only Carrie Bradshaw I care about is Carrie Bradshaw. What's her name, right? Carrie Bradshaw?
Maybe, yeah. I think you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Isn't he a football coach?
That's Terry Bradshaw.
Oh, I don't know sports.
Ex-quarterback and then coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers and now commentator.
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about.
Yeah, that's Terry Bradshaw.
Yeah. He's the one who wears like the red sweater, right?
What?
Anyway, moving on.
You thinking about Bobby McKnight?
Can we keep going,
Or
please?
Bobby Knight. Bobby Knight.
Bobby
That's the guy that threw. He's a basketball coach. That's the one that used to throw chairs.
Brian McKnight.
Brian McKnight is an R&B singer. Okay, next one. This one pisses me off. At the end of Queen's song "We Are the Champions," it says "of the world."
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Yes, it does.
It doesn't, but it says it after every other fucking chorus in that song. It's just
Okay,
the
no, no, no.
last one.
I'm sorry, you're
doesn't
right,
say
right.
"of the world."
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
It just goes dun dun.
every other chorus says "of the world" at the end, and people are like, "No, it says "of the world" at the end." It's like, you don't think that you could have just conflated every fucking chorus because he says it every other time, and then the last one he doesn't. You just don't fucking remember, right?
You know something?
You're
I
totally
remember
right.
No, Mandela effect. We're in a different timeline.
something cool that
I thought you were just saying that like that part wasn't in it. And
That when I
yeah.
first read it, that's what I thought, and I was like,
Like, what the fuck?
No,
Yeah.
no. He definitely says "of the world." I know it. And then I pulled up the song and I was like listening to it and I was like, there it is. And then I read it again and it was like at the end of the song. And I was like, oh, well, that's just stupid.
something I didn't know that is great is the Queen wrote the theme song to Highlander, and I saw that. I caught that yesterday. I was like, oh shit, this song kind of fucks too. It's like,
Full circle, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for listening. Okay, here's another one. People who, and this is another one that I'm like, no. People remember Leonardo DiCaprio getting more Oscars than just the first one that he got in 2016 for The Revenant.
No, the whole thing
He
was
did
that
it. That was a whole thing.
That
he was
the whole thing,
Oscar
yeah.
baiting for years.
Yeah.
yeah,
Same
he
with
was like
Scorsese.
a master Oscar baiter.
Yeah. Just vigorously
And then-
Oscar
and then,
baiting
The
every
Revenant-
year.
The Revenant is a lot of fun because I don't think he deserves an Oscar for that shit.
I've never seen it.
Barely says anything the whole movie. He's
I
just
think-
going like,
Yeah, I think there are other movies of his that he deserved an Oscar for more than that.
Do you like The Revenant? You seen that one?
It's all right.
Oh, that was pretty cool. Fucking
Yeah.
pretty rad.
It's a good movie.
My favorite part is Tom Hardy like kills his son and it's a whole revenge story, right? And at the end, when he's beating Tom Hardy looks at him and goes, "This isn't gonna bring your son back."
I remember somebody.
And just like DiCaprio's face when he says that, it's just like, "Oh, you piece of shit."
I remember somebody like saying that he like really wrestled a bear in the movie, and I'm like, stop.
Yeah, maybe back at the hotel room.
Are you talking about a gay man? A large, hairy gay man?
Yeah, man. If I explain the joke, it's not funny.
It is. That's the way you make jokes funny, is you tell them what they mean. The people. Tell the people what they mean.
You didn't have to explain. That's who I told.
That's the joke. I'm
God
explaining the
damn
joke to
it.
make it funny.
God damn it.
Okay, here's one. Again, another one that I'm like, no, I remember this shit. Was it Sinbad in the movie Shazam or Shaq in the movie Kazam?
It's Shaq and Kazam.
Of course.
I'm on the other side of the fence.
Do you
on
remember a
this
Sinbad Shazam?
one. I remember a Sinbad genie.
Sinbad has never played a genie except for
Fucking swear to God.
in parodies after the whole Mandela effect thing came out.
I remember being in Jay Ryan's house watching that.
Watching Man of the House because he's got those fucking pajama pants, like the
Maybe that's
umbrella
it,
pants,
man.
and he
Yeah.
looks like a genie.
Yeah.
Because he's wearing like a bunch of gold fucking shit, like flowy silk shirts.
I was trying to remember the other one that really fucked with my head, and that's it. It's the Shazam thing.
I remember, and this is why I never fell for this one either, was because there was a time years and years that like when IMDb was a new thing.
It's not Man of the House, is it? Man
No,
of the House.
that's a Sinbad move.
Is that? I think in Man of the House, isn't that Jonathan Taylor Thomas?
Maybe. I don't know, but Sinbad's in Man of the House, I think.
Jonathan
you got me
Taylor
questioning
Thomas and
myself.
Chevy Chase, I think, is Man of the House.
No.
It's not bringing down the house. It's Queen Latifah and Steve Martin.
It's not burning down the house. That's the Talking Heads.
Yeah.
Man of the House is Chevy Chase and JTT.
What's the Sinbad
House
movie?
Guest. It's going to be House Guest with Phil Hartman.
I don't know.
Dan survey says
Correct.
yes.
There's also a song called House Guest by the band Nothing Painted Blue.
Nice.
Yeah.
How about that?
So the reason I never fell for this one was that when IMDb was like a new thing, and also Mystery Science Theater was a cool thing, which it still is, but more from a nostalgic perspective than anything else. I remember that me and a couple buddies used to go on the IMDb has like the worst movies of all time. And we would like watch those to make fun of them.
Right.
And Kazam at the time, I'm not sure where it ranks on that list now, but it was either the worst or like one of the top 3 worst movies of all time.
That's a conflagration.
was
That movie
was
is not that bad.
What? I don't know what their metrics for determining are, but I guess just user.
This
ratings,
past
right? Now it's like Rotten Tomatoes.
This past Thanksgiving, the character that I play on the podcast ate a bunch of mushrooms and watched Warriors of Virtue, the movie about the
you could
Kung
just
Fu.
admit to doing drugs.
No,
dude.
I don't in real life.
Oh, okay.
Just the character on my podcast does. But we watched.
Is that with the weird cat people? Or
No,
whatever?
kangaroo people.
Yeah, I watched that with Jay
Kangaroo
Ryan
Kung
too.
Fu
What movie
Warriors.
is this?
Warriors of Virtue. Never seen it?
No.
It's kind
You
of
knew
like
the answer to that.
You
Okay,
would have
so-
missed the. You would have been a little too old.
you know
to be
the
into
oof,
it when it came out.
I guess I'm trying to think.
When
Maybe
did
it's
it
it's
come
got
out?
like a Turtles in Time sort of thing where
that
this
was a video game.
no, it's the third Ninja Turtles movie, Turtles in Time, the samurai one.
Yeah.
But anyway, you know, like
That was a video
Wait,
it's
that's not
about
what
it's
that's
about this
called.
kid that like falls into this like magic portal and ends up in this fucking magic kung fu land where the kung fu warriors, for some reason that is not explained really, are kangaroo people.
What year did this come out?
Dude, like 96.
Why do I feel like I have seen that?
It's a full on real movie and it is a wacky Thanksgiving mushroom trip, let me tell you.
Is what your character told you?
Yeah, it's what I assume is the case.
Drew's got info for us.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, subtitled Turtles in Time, in some home media releases. Okay, so I don't remember it ever saying Turtles in Time, but I probably had the other release.
There was a video game that's Turtles in Time.
Yeah, but
Yes.
the movie is subtitled Turtles in Time, but I never saw that, so I
Interesting.
must have had an earlier or a later.
that it says it on the splash screen when like they're doing the theme song and the fucking Ninja Turtles 3 comes up and then Turtles in Time.
Maybe.
Just
I
like
fucking
Secret of the
loved
Ooze.
that movie
That's a good one.
when I was a kid.
It really is. It's super underrated, actually. I think it's. I don't know if it's as good as Secret of the Ooze, but it's close.
I'll show you the secret of my ooze.
Yeah.
No, I had to. All right, this one pisses me off. Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
He doesn't say life is like a box of chocolates.
Mama always said.
He said life was like a box of chocolates.
That's just
Mama
getting
always
pedantic.
said life was a box. That's dumb.
Exactly.
Also,
Life was like a box of
how do
chocolates.
you guys feel
With
about
that accent, it's so hard to tell is from was. So you just think it's just a bunch of people who assumed he was saying is. The actual line is was. And there is, oh, we're in a different timeline. Fuck.
My favorite thing that references that is an episode of The X-Files where it's the smoking man.
Yep.
And he has a box of chocolates, and I think he just got rejected. He wanted to be like an author, and he got rejected, so we went all Hitler and like, ruin the world or whatever.
Smoking Man was a problem, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the
but
Smoking Man's in this one.
But he says something to the effect of, life is like a box of chocolates, a useless perfunctory gift that nobody ever asked for, or something like that. I'm like, that's fucking amazing. Sorry.
To continue with the pedantic shit, Mr. Rogers didn't sing It's a Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. He sang...
Hold on, I can do this. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
In this neighborhood.
Fuck.
No, he says both.
Eat shit.
Apparently he said this. I remember
Beautiful
the...
day in this neighborhood. A beautiful day in my neighbor.
Yeah, I
You
remember
refer
the,
never-
but that
yeah.
doesn't mean that like...
See, that guy was on fucking TV for like 40
Yeah,
years.
seriously.
I'm
He
sure,
probably swapped it up.
I'm
a few
sure he
times,
said
yeah.
whatever, like a bunch of shit.
Another weird one. Cruella de Vil from 101 Dalmatians.
Babe would smash.
Yeah?
No.
Cartoon version or
No,
Glenn
gross.
Close?
No. Yeah, Glenn Close.
Yeah.
Glenn Close, what's that movie?
Death Becomes Her.
No, she's not in that.
That wasn't her and
No,
Goldie
it's
Hawn?
Meryl Streep and
Oh, it's Meryl
it's
Streep.
not even Goldie Hawn. Is
Not
it
Goldie
Goldie
Hawn?
Hawn? That is Goldie Hawn.
Yeah, Goldie Hawn was in that.
Glenn Close in not Dangerous Liaisons. It's the one where she's like the psycho stalker, Michael Douglas.
Oh,
It's not
yeah,
single white
yeah,
female,
yeah.
but it's something very close to that.
Yeah, no. What was that?
Dangerous Bang.
Something Instinct.
Killer Instinct. Dangerous. Instinct one that's Michelle Pfeiffer.
Fatal Attraction.
Fatal Attraction.
God damn it.
I mean, Glenn Close can fucking get it in Fatal Attraction.
Yeah,
frankly.
sure. Why not?
But again, I have stated I like scary bitches. So
That was like 40 years ago.
yeah.
Okay. Here's another silly one. Cruella de Vil. Everyone assumed her last name is spelled Deville when it's actually DE capital VIL. Devil.
Cause she the devil.
Yeah. But it's like, why would you?
Are all the Mandela effects this stupid?
A lot of them are. Why would you assume
This
that
from
that's unless you're watching?
Beano.com?
Are you?
That's a deep cut.
Are you watching all the way through to the subtitles or the end credits rather? Or are you watching it with subtitles? Like it doesn't make sense. You just assumed it was Deville.
I don't know. I was
because
never...
of David Seville. Is David Seville from the Chipmunks? Is he SE capital VIL?
Maybe
Seville.
Maybe this is my bisexuality, but the only part of this of 101 Dalmatians that I really liked was that the fucking the dad was like dressed really cool and smoked cigarettes and fucking played piano in the attic all the time. And I was like, I want to do that. I didn't care about the dogs. I was like, I want to be a fucking angry jazz musician. He's like, oh, Cruella's here. He's like, I don't give a fuck. But doodly beep bop boop, she's a bitch.
Here's another one that's got to be from like people way younger than us. There are people who claim that they learned about 51 or 52 United States states of the U.S.
No, they're dumb. That's stupid.
Yeah, that's just more of an example of
they're
how...
like, Hawaii and Alaska? You're fucking dumb.
Or are they assuming Puerto Rico and, I don't know,
DC,
Guam, the Virgin Islands? Yeah, like
Samoa?
What? Yeah, seriously. Like, I don't know. I don't know what is weird.
That's fucking dumb.
That is dumb.
So I don't consider
that's
these
some
Mandela
fucking
effects.
that's some
I
Jay
consider
Leno
people
man
being
on the
fucking
street
dumb.
bullshit. Yeah.
Okay, so in the
Hey, come on down to the street with me. Let's look at these idiots.
in the Tom Cruise movie Risky Business, the dancing scene, what's he wearing?
Tidy whities.
Tidy whities and socks.
And a button-up shirt and a tie and sunglasses.
Not wearing sunglasses.
No sunglasses?
Not wearing sunglasses.
This is outrageous.
But that's silly because he's wearing sunglasses so much in that movie that it's not hard to conflate those things.
Ugh. Who's even looking at his face, though, you know?
What were you looking at?
It's fucking...
Socks?
No, his weird middle tooth.
He does have a weird middle tooth.
Does
You know
he?
that?
Yeah, he hadn't gotten the surgery at that time.
Oh yeah,
His
Yeah,
shit's
he had
misaligned,
real busted teeth in like the outsiders.
Yeah. Now his shit's all fixed up. Yeah.
Yeah. I think he's still got the middle tooth.
Still
though.
got a weird middle tooth, but it's like it's really hard to tell. And who cares?
Yeah,
It's
it's hard
like-
to tell. But if you see certain photos of him,
he's
Like
like
the-
70% plastic at this
Yeah,
point.
it's
probably.
misaligned, whatever.
But if you, he probably had to get, because my son had the same issue. Just go ahead and divulge my son's fucking dental records here. But he's like me, has a very narrow jaw. And so he had spacing issues with like his teeth not being, not having room to come in, which would have made him all fucking crooked and shit. So
They had to add another jaw.
they took one of his molars out. He had his fucking wisdom teeth removed super young. They took one of the molars out to give space. And so that's probably what Tom Cruise did, was just remove a tooth and then your teeth just fill that space. But then
I
one
feel
of the
like he
teeth that's
probably
supposed to be
just got the surgery to unhinge his jaw.
Here's another one. Again, probably for younger. By the way, Riley, I don't want you to answer this question because I know you know the answer.
Okay.
I want Drew to.
Okay.
I think Drew knows the answer too. I want to know if Drew knows the answer. This is for, again, probably much younger people than us, right? What does Gandalf say before he falls into the Balrog's pit?
Whoa.
Fly, you fools.
He says, "Fly, you fools." People insist that he says, "Run, you fools."
No, those
The
people are
fuck?
fucking dumb.
Exactly. They didn't grow. But this is what I'm talking about. Your age depends. How much
I
you're paying
think
attention
what he should have
depends.
said is like, hey, help me out. Throw me a rope. This is bad. This is real bad.
Hurry the fuck up!
Well, you guys, what are you just fucking standing there? Are you serious?
Look at this fucking thing! Help me! God damn! It's got a whip! All I have is a fucking piece of wood, you piece of shit fuckers. Short little assholes.
That reminds me that the opening of the Two Towers cinematic version is one of the best openings of any goddamn movie of all time.
Him fighting the
Fighting the
Balrog
Balrog
while
out of the way.
falling.
Yeah, because
endlessly.
it's just so
Yeah.
fucking...
It's so good.
I just got tingles. I got
It
tingles
is
thinking about
really,
it. It's
really,
so
really good.
fucking good.
And then there's that fucking wide shot
where they're
of the
doing
mountain.
where it's just falling.
And it's just you just see the fire from the Balrog just
So
fall.
good.
Yeah.
And then they hit the top of the mountain.
That's actually the... Not that part, but later describing that fight is the only impersonation I can do of Gandalf. Smote his ruin on the mountainside.
Nice.
Yeah, also a good threat.
I like.
I
doing
will
that.
smote your ruin on the mountainside.
I think that's you would have to do present tense. You would smite.
No, I will have had smote.
Like a past participle? Is that what you just did?
What happened to that guy? Oh, I smote his ruin.
Yeah, up on the mountainside. I like doing the Bilbo Baggins when the whole room gets dark.
Do not take me for some conjurer of tricks. Bilbo Baggins.
I'm not trying to rob you. I'm trying to help you.
We can do this the rest of the
Probably
episode.
just do the Lord of the Rings for the rest of
there's
the episode.
There's a weird kind of Mr. Bungle-esque sort of California punk ska thing that came out of California in the early 90s called Nuclear Rabbit.
Mm-hmm.
They did a song called The Pimp, the Bitch, and the Magic Beans. And it starts out with somebody doing a Gandalf voice.
Uh-huh.
And he says, Bilbo, fetch me my cane. And that has been in my head for 30 years.
That's stupid.
Speaking of stupid.
Are we doing more of these?
Yeah.
Well, this brings me to your favorite one, Drew, the Fruit of the Loom logo.
Okay. Riley.
Yeah.
Have we discussed this in front of him?
Well,
Describe the
a
Fruit of the
little
Loom logo.
A little earlier.
Fruit of the Loom. Fruit of the Loom. Well, there's a loom. They got a loom on there, and
It's
I
the
think
underwear
there's like
company.
fruit on it.
It's just a bunch of, I mean, what, it's like grapes and an
That's
apple.
fucking
and
cornucopia. Everybody
of-
knows the goddamn
There's no
cornucopia.
cornucopia.
That's horseshit.
There's
a
never been a
cornucopia.
Thank you.
cornucopia.
That's
There's
the
a
one.
fucking-
That's the one.
It's bullshit.
That
They
makes me
changed
question
that.
my
They
reality.
changed it.
Here's why I think that people remember that even though it never existed.
Because everyone
evidently.
ever has seen that is the case.
It's a massive conspiracy.
When you see that bunch of fruit, think about growing up. Anytime you'd like see anything about the Pilgrims in like elementary school, any artwork, they always had the cornucopia full of fruit.
Sure. Yeah,
Then a
here's
little
another
bit-
thing. You ever seen a real cornucopia?
No,
Well, then why the fuck am I adding cornucopias to things?
cornucopiae,
Like,
cornucopias.
I've seen lots of stuff in drawings. I'm not adding those to other things I see.
I just think that in your mind, when you see a bunch of different fruits just all blop together, and then maybe you just put they belong in a
throw
cornucopia.
a cornucopia behind it.
Those belong in a cornucopia.
No, it's nonsense.
Yeah, every time Allison comes home from the grocery store with a bunch of fruit, I'm like, where's the cornucopia?
you asshole.
Why is that all in a bag? It should be in a cornucopia.
That would be actually. I would, if I owned a grocery store chain, I would right now call my like head of development and be like, "Hey, I got an idea.
We only sell
anytime
fruit,
anytime somebody buys fruit, you say, "Would you like that in a cornucopia?"
paper, plastic, or cornucopia.
Because you're gonna get 2 responses or 3 responses. You're gonna get, "Oh hell yeah," or "No," or more succinctly, "What?"
I would say if I owned a grocery store right now, I'd be like, listen, take all the fruit out of the individual packaging,
Put them in a cornucopia.
put them in
from now on.
cornucopia, get like 100 cornucopia in a stack. That's the only way we sell fruit now. Just you get apples and grapes and pears and all of it in one cornucopia. $10.99. That's it. That's how we sell fruit now.
If I started an adult website, I'm not even gonna finish the joke. You know what it is.
Cornucopia
Of course.
with dicks and boobs and
You know,
stuff.
the
pouring
logo,
out of it.
The logo would absolutely be the Fruit of the Loom logo of the cornucopia, except it's all dildos and stuff.
So do you remember the fucking cornucopia?
Of course I remember the cornucopia.
Then what the fuck?
I remember the cornucopia too, but again, I'm not beyond believing that maybe I'm just fucking conflating these images in my brain.
No, that's the proof.
Yeah, no, that's it. It existed. That one's real.
Okay.
And if it didn't,
Alternate
then that's the
timeline.
proof of fucking bleeding dimensions in my mind.
there's a bunch of different brand logos that people misremember. Kit Kat doesn't have a dash in between the kit and the cat. Just one word with 2 capital K's.
Huh.
I think that's bullshit, and they changed it.
According
Just
to
say that to everything.
according to whomever makes Kit Kats, that's the way the logo's always been.
Hey, listen, it's always been like this, okay? And you can't tell us any different. You don't know. We'll sue.
Same with Oreo double stuff. There's only one F on stuff.
I knew that.
Yeah, I'll agree with that one.
Also, I don't buy those though, because I like classic Oreos, and I think it's ridiculous.
You've
to
got
add
the
more
right,
stuff.
yeah. There's the right amount of
add
stuffing
more
in
stuff.
there.
My daughter really likes the the mint Oreos.
Oh,
and
gross.
I hated on them at first, but you know what? When
They're
you're out of
okay.
Oreos, mint
They'll do.
Oreo,
In a pinch?
it does
Especially
the
if you're
trick.
high
In a
or
pinch,
something?
you do the trick. Yeah.
These will do in a pinch.
Yeah.
I'm a classic Oreo guy.
Yeah,
Just
as am
the
I,
regular blue package Oreos. That's all I need. I'm not pretending. I really think you guys are dumb.
It is relevant, I think, to at least acknowledge the absurdity of all existence when you're talking about shit like this. And I know you consider yourself a realist, but the realist angle of things that I take is always the absurdist angle, which is based very strongly around the fact that every single facet of existence in every way is so gross and ridiculous that to try and contemplate it all makes me physically ill.
I don't think you have to go into philosophy at all. I think it's just brains don't work as well as you think they do.
But they also work better than anything else that exists.
I guess if you're going
And
to
they're just salty.
Dunning-Kruger effect
they're
yourself.
salty 4-pound meat blubs.
Yeah, they feel like Jell-O. Apparently.
Yeah.
That's what they say, is that brains
Weird.
have the consistency of Jell-O.
Does it
What?
taste like Jell-O?
I don't know. I haven't eaten any yet.
We could go to South Papua and find out.
I will.
Apparently, it
Field
tastes like
trip.
young cassowary.
When the apocalypse comes, there are 2 kinds of apocalypse, right? There's the economic collapse, where eventually you'll probably have to eat somebody, and then there's the nuclear fallout. And I'm not living through the nuclear one. If I see fucking nuclear shit falling,
We're far enough away.
to what? To where?
Jacksonville has a
They're
nuclear-
gonna strike us. They'll strike us here.
What?
We're not far enough away. It doesn't matter.
You would-
I'm not
you would
going to
hit
live
the-
through
wait, wait.
nuclear fallout. I'm not doing it. I'll die. But if it's just economic collapse and people are being creepy and fucking they're like cannibal gangs, I'm eating brains.
Hang on. Every country that well, let's be honest. The only country that has a nuclear stockpile that's an enemy of the U.S. is Russia. They have a finite amount of nuclear weapons.
Dude, you obviously don't
Where does
understand
St.
where I'm coming
Augustine,
from.
Florida
Buddy,
fall on the...
If fucking Maryland takes a nuke, I don't want to survive. I don't want to live through like the world that has partially irradiated coastline. I don't want that. I'm done.
Once
I'm
you're past
fucking
like,
out.
I think once you're past like 30 miles or something like that outside of the nuclear cloud, then
To
you're
what?
outside of the
And
nuclear.
then what? I
blast?
eat a fish that swam here from the nuclear region. I get fucking leukemia. Fuck that. No, I'm done. Out.
Okay, fine.
They're dropping nukes. I'm fucking dying. I'll lay down in the street.
I'll lay down in the street and then not die because they're not going to drop a nuke. In
I'll
St.
die of
Augustine, Florida.
exposure.
To what?
I'm just done. I will just
sun exposure.
I just fucking lay down. Yeah. And you know anyone can do that at any time. You don't have to be
Yeah, you can do
dramatic
that
about
today.
it. You can just stop doing stuff anytime you want.
Yeah.
You're dead.
I would say laying down in the street is being dramatic about it.
I guess.
in any
And lay down in your
situation.
backyard
Okay,
where
all
people
right.
can't see.
So here's another one that people think is wrong, even though I remember it being this way my whole life. Fruit Loops, Froot.
Really?
Yeah,
I mean, it makes sense. That one tracks.
yeah.
That's
why
good
would you name
branding.
it?
I'm not arguing otherwise. I'm just surprised. I don't know. I guess I probably just never paid attention.
That's exactly what it is. That's what most of these are. It depends. Your memory depends on how closely you're paying attention to these things. And most of these things are things that were just sort of passing fancy. How much were you fucking staring at the Monopoly Man? I guarantee you anybody who was jacking it to the Monopoly Man in the back room knows exactly that he wasn't wearing a monocle.
Okay.
Those of us who didn't jack it to the Monopoly Man are like, oh yeah, definitely monocle.
Okay, so it's fruit Froot loops, right? But it's still
spelled normally, yeah.
BOOB-Aries, right?
What?
Blueberries?
No, Booberry was Booberry was
BOOB.
Yeah.
Dash
BOO.
Aries.
Stupid. A Cheez-It.
Cheese it, kids. It's the fucking. It's the
Cheese it.
fuzz.
It's the fuzz. So, which, by the way, is why it's named what it is. But people think that CHEEZ -IT is the name of it. People remember ITZ, Cheez-Its, Cheez-Its, but it's Cheez-It.
It's cheese it.
But it's not cheesy. It's a Cheez-It.
People just misremember it because you don't eat one Cheez-It. You eat
right,
Cheez-Its.
you eat Cheez-Its. Yeah. And so you fucking add a Z to the end because that makes sense from, if you're a marketing brain, then you'd be like, yeah, I'd put a Z on that.
I thought it was like a Freudian snack. I thought it was cheese-id.
That's dumb. That's the worst joke. That is a bad joke.
I don't know.
Oh, that was a bad joke.
I thought it was all right.
No. What?
I'm vibing with Riley a little bit tonight.
I remember it being
I'm usually on your side
here,
more.
okay?
I remember it being everyone's ids. Cheese-ids with a Z. Ids. So here's one that is sort of, call back to a recent episode. Historians, not just random people on the street. Historians insist that there is the famous painting of Henry VIII holding a turkey leg.
Oh, yeah. He's a big fat fuck. Everyone knows that.
Doesn't exist.
Huh.
Ooh.
Doesn't exist. You know exactly which painting I'm talking about, too.
Yeah, big
I know
fat
you're
fuck, yeah.
picturing the same fucking painting.
Sitting at the table.
I think we used it on the Instagram for our Monarchy 2, British Monarchy 2 episode.
I suppose, yeah.
We used that painting.
Historians say it doesn't exist? Or they
Historians
say it does?
say that they definitely remember it being there, but nobody can find it. It's one painting. It's not like they had a fucking printing press in the back of the goddamn palace. Are you?
I'm looking it up.
You just think you know better than historians? You think historians don't have the internet?
Turkey leg.
Everyone knows historians don't have internet access.
God damn.
Well, there's a lot of like
Holy
doctored
shit,
images
I guess
now.
he doesn't have a fucking turkey leg.
No, he's holding. What's he holding? He's holding something else.
It's a codpiece.
Scepter or something?
No.
Looks like a croissant.
A croissant.
Yeah, he's holding his gloves.
That's right, his gloves.
Should be a turkey leg. Fucking dumb jerk.
I feel like
Bullshit timeline.
I feel like maybe there was some sort of like marketing thing where they used that.
Like they had the Burger King. Like
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
leg.
Whatever.
Where they used the print of that painting and they like superimposed the turkey leg.
Big
in there
stupid
like
fat fuck.
I don't know. I remember that
Henry
being a
the
thing. I
ate
just
a
don't
turkey
remember.
leg.
What? The turkey leg's in his cod piece, you guys.
Oh, wait. That's why it was that big. So you could fit the turkey leg in there.
Hang on, before you start painting me, let me put away my turkey leg.
Clank, clank,
Down
clunk.
the pants. Okay, here's another one. Again for younger people. Patrick Swayze recovering from pancreatic cancer.
No, he did.
He died in 2009.
He died right around the same time.
Struggled
as,
for a while and was like in and out of treatment and better and worse. And
I
better and
remember
worse, and then
him.
he died.
I remember him dying like almost like
That's what I thought.
super quickly. Like
yeah, I'm with you.
I remember
nobody saw it coming.
I remember an Up and Down, and then he's in that fucking terrible movie.
Ghost.
No, so like something blue, baby blue, powder blue, I think it's called.
I don't know.
Oh boy, that's a bad one. That's like, god damn, who made this movie is bad.
I feel like Patrick Swayze was never in like a lot of critically acclaimed movies. Was he?
I don't know. To Wong Fu, thanks for everything.
Was that critically acclaimed?
Yeah, that's like that's. I mean,
Donnie Darko was pretty critically acclaimed, right?
It wasn't
Yeah.
Donnie Darko.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or,
Donnie Darko's still fucking good. I don't care what anyone
good
says.
movie.
Is somebody saying otherwise?
Yeah, people talk shit about Donnie
They're
Darko.
misremembering it. Fuck them.
Yeah, they're misremembering that shit. That's a fucking.
Who's saying
good,
that?
I don't know. It's pretty contemporarily known to just be like, yeah.
Anybody who's like my fucking 19-year-old son loves that movie.
That's a great flick.
Huh.
Great use of Tears for Fears.
Yeah, that's true.
I seem to remember Swayze dying really soon because it was him, Farrah Fawcett,
he was kind of
and
making
MJ.
a comeback after Donnie Darko, right?
Yeah,
And then
Maybe. I do remember.
They all
I
died,
remember it was like a holy shit, Patrick Swayze died. Holy shit, pancreatic cancer? Like what? And then it came out like that he was struggling with it for a while, but I don't think he was really like broadcasting that.
my daughter just watched The Outsiders in class.
Yeah, you told me about
And she was telling me that like there's like division in her class about which boys were the cutest.
that. What?
She's like, some of them like this guy, and I'm like, Patrick Swayze? She's like, yeah, but I like Dallas. And I was like, Matt Dillon? She's like, yeah.
You should have put on a movie with him now.
I'm kind of like,
now.
I was sort of like, yeah, but I like The House That Jack Built. The
I was
fucking-
thinking there's something about Mary. Let her watch that.
but I was like, I gotta say, like, yo, okay, 1980s
Don't
bad,
let her watch that.
1980s bad boy Matt Dillon. I can see it. Okay.
What's on
yeah. They listen. All those. First of all, that cast was just star-studded before they were stars. And I don't know, man. All
so
those
as long
guys,
as you don't like C. Thomas Howell, it's fine.
I guess. But almost all those.
He did
guys,
not stay gold.
No, he did not. Almost all those guys went on to have like fucking crazy careers, man.
There are a lot of people in that movie.
Ralph Macchio.
Tom Waits.
Fuck you.
Tom Waits is in that movie.
Okay, fine.
Is he?
The Outsiders, yeah, he's just like there for a second. Do you know Coppola made that movie and Rumblefish like same time?
I did not know that.
Yeah, like Matt Dillon's in both of them. Tom Waits is in
Yeah.
both of them. Ooh, the girl. Oh, such a babe.
Rob Lowe.
No, the girlfriend. She's a girlfriend in both movies. Like it's like a conflated thing. He did one like pop movie that's The Outsiders, and then he did an art movie that's Rumblefish. They're both S.E. Hinton stories. Like it's like the whole fucking sister act.
Way to be an overachiever, Coppola.
Yeah, you fucking loser.
Well, you know, he just I think they shut down his winery. He shut down his winery.
Yeah, good. Whatever. He's probably ready to die.
Probably.
He did that movie that he invested like his whole life into, and it.
I doubt he's running
apparently
his winery.
sucked.
He's not running his winery.
Right,
He's
right.
fucking older than piss.
He did that movie Megalopolis that like bombed so fucking hard, and everybody says it's terrible. I haven't seen it.
I've heard it was really bad.
Yeah,
Metalocalypse?
Megalopolis.
I know, I'm kidding.
Megalopolis.
Megalopolis. Isn't it a remake of like a way old film?
I don't know. I honestly haven't paid that
Whatever, who
much attention
cares?
to it. Yeah.
Here's one. Did Curious George have a tail?
No, he's a chimpanzee.
People remember him having a tail?
Ugh.
He didn't have a tail.
Yeah,
People
no, he's not a
remember him
monkey.
having
He's a chimpanzee.
a tail. First of all, he's wearing his pants. He would have tucked the tail in.
He's not wearing pants.
He's not wearing pants?
No.
No, he's not wearing pants. You're right.
Fuck.
Exactly. This is how memories work. I thought he was wearing pants. I thought about it real hard, and I was like, no, he wasn't wearing pants.
I thought my first inclination is, yeah, he had a tail, but then like I don't remember it ever coming up in any of the stories where you'd think he would have like, you know, monkeys or I'm sorry, chimps, whatever, primates.
Chimps are monkey. Dolphins
Whatever.
are fish.
You can just say
Monkeys
monkey.
use their tail.
Shut up. Shut up.
You in the same breath, you say you can say monkey, and then I call dolphins fish, and you're like, shut the fuck up.
Because that's not how they're classified, you twat.
Whatever. Chimps aren't monkeys. Whatever.
I didn't realize he was a
They're in
chimp.
the same family.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
They fucking are not.
I think he's right. He knows his monkey shit. So.
God damn it. I'm not going to argue with you on this one because I don't know.
I didn't realize he was a chimp, but I don't remember any of the stories ever featuring a tail, which monkeys use like an appendage, so it makes
Yeah.
sense. So I concede that he never had a tail.
Yeah.
That's how we can solve the Mandela effect.
Here's another one, a classic example of just misremembering, right? The Challenger shuttle blew up in 1986.
Yeah.
Correct.
There are people who insist that it blew up in 84 or 85.
Oh, I don't know. I wasn't there for any of those.
I
Yeah.
don't, I have very limited memory of that event. I was 5 in 86, so.
We weren't born.
We weren't even there. Yeah.
Here's a good one. Remember the Publishers Clearinghouse?
Yeah, Ed McMahon.
Wasn't Ed McMahon.
What do you mean it wasn't Ed McMahon?
Ed McMahon showed up for American Family Publishers. It was a different thing. It wasn't Publishers Clearinghouse.
Oh,
It
what
was just
the
a
fuck?
different company that did giant checks on old people's doorsteps.
That makes me really uncomfortable, actually.
That one get you?
Yeah, that one hurts a little bit because it's just like fucking. My brain just went all TV static, and now everything's like beige, like fucking.
But this is
90s television.
Listen, this is a perfect example of that whole schemata thing, the schema memory theory, right? This is a perfect example.
Schema memory.
Who the fuck has thought or heard of American Family Publishers?
No one.
Right? Yeah, exactly. We all knew Publishers Clearinghouse from fucking weekend bullshit on the TV. And like, that's just an example of you kind of packed both of these things into the same box in your brain. And so therefore, yeah, Publishers Clearinghouse, Ed McMahon.
Fucking, I think about that, and I just like, I don't. You probably recall this like just from growing up. You see old people on TV, and everything's like weird, like this weird beige kind of like plasticky sort of off yellow everything.
No.
Like everything Ed McMahon ever wore, right? Was like a suit, but it's like a fuzzy suit that's like school carpet. You know
I
what
think you were
you know
just
what I'm talking
watching
about?
him on Johnny Carson during before
I'm just
pre-high
like
definition.
everybody, like
TV.
my grandparents and shit. They always had this like terrible school carpet, like dress coats and shit, and like corduroy pants and like bruised leather shoes.
Yeah, that
And,
was
like,
also a time when you
everything
had
is just-
shag carpet in your house.
Yes, exactly. And everything's just kind of beigey and tinted with cigarettes.
Yeah.
And just fucking just weird. It's the weirdest aesthetic.
People
And
had carpet in their kitchen. It's
Yeah,
like, what are you
it's so
doing?
fucking
Why?
Like, if I were to see my grandparents' house right now, looking at it, like, I'm sure it would look like just a house, but to my memory, it's like I'm watching, like, the Golden Girls on a tube TV. You know? There's a good example of, like, how memory distorts stuff, because to me, my entire childhood looks like 90s television.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Actually, 100%. Like,
Yeah,
I
a lot of
completely agree with
slatboard
what you're saying.
walls.
Yeah,
and shit.
I mean, that's a weird memory thing.
Yeah.
It's just
Just your brain squishing shit together.
it's your
so it can
brain.
make
It's your
room.
brain remembering what TV at that time looked like,
I guess,
and then
I
it
don't
makes your memories look like that.
Because if
we
I
were
think
also we were also raised on television.
Yeah.
Most of us.
Listen, when we're doing when we were doing the westward expansion and stuff like that, me thinking about these, and this is another weird way that brains operate. Me thinking about sort of these stories and everything, I wasn't seeing anything. Everything was sepia toned in my brain. Like those fucking booths you can go and dress like cowboys and fucking Calamity Jane and shit. About. Yeah, everything in my brain
you
while
got a little
was
fucking saloon piano.
yeah, slightly out of tune. Yeah, there was everything in my brain was sepia tone when I was doing the notes for that show and when we were talking about it. And I think it's just this weird thing that your brain does.
You know what's weird, actually?
Kind of cool.
If I think about my childhood, which I try not to do very often, actually. I mean, like, I try and dismantle my own emotional stuff and like growing up and all that, but I don't like have too many memories that I dig too much from when I was a kid. So like, I don't think about it much. But there's this clear delineation between like outside, which in my memory is pretty crisp. It's like a movie, you know, like coming of age story.
Sure.
Stand By Me, right?
Okay.
It's got that sort of like a crisp vibe to it. But then if I think of inside any houses from that time, it's all got that fuzzy sepia tone, like 90s television thing to it.
Huh.
That's strange.
It's weird.
All right, ready for this one? Drew, spell Berenstain Bears.
Berenstain.
You got it. People remember. This is one of the most popular
We're just aware
ones
of it.
Yeah, Steen. You
If
didn't already know
If
about
I didn't
it.
already know, I probably would have said Stein.
Riley, spell Looney Tunes.
Ooh. Looneytunes.
That's right. You knew
Yeah.
about that one
My
too.
dad is an animator.
People remember Toons.
Yeah.
Well,
But-
and the tunes make sense because there's like so much, old music.
They did a lot of
Yeah.
old, classic,
It's part
classical.
of the
Yeah.
format,
Yeah.
No, the
classical
Berenstain
music.
Bears thing. I know a lot of people are surprised by the spelling. You know what I was most surprised by actually was that they were Jewish.
But they're not. It's Stain.
Would that not be a Jewish name?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're Christian.
Are they?
Yeah, there's like a Christian.
Sounds like they're hiding out. Sounds like they changed their name at Ellis Island.
No, it was like a Christian publishing company or whatever, or maybe the creators. The creators were Christian, I think.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know. I think their name was Berenstain.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I'm just telling you what
They-
my
they-
brain
sure,
maybe
maybe they were passing.
maybe accurately, maybe inaccurately remembers. This is going to change our whole podcast because now I can never say anything with certainty.
You're welcome. This is
Yeah.
what I wanted.
I vaguely remember that the creator's name was Berenstain, but I also almost am
Slow-mo
positive.
Berenstain. Yeah.
I'm so Christian. Look at my books for children. What's this on my head? It's a Jesus cap. Do you remember the name of the villain in the Gremlin movies?
The
Spike.
Gremlins
Stripe.
movies.
Stripe.
It's Stripe.
It's
yeah.
Stripe.
I said Spike at first, but it's
People
Stripe.
The
think-
villain, Joe Dante. That was a good joke for any of my Joe Dante listeners.
Who the fuck is Joe
He's
Dante?
the director of the Gremlins movies.
Aren't they finally doing a third one?
Weird.
I don't know. That'd be cool. I really
That
like
would be
those.
awesome.
I fucking love
I would
those
love a
movies.
third Gremlins.
Yeah.
Like-
unless they CGI all the Gremlins and then I'm pissed.
Gremlins,
They won't do it.
no,
They know
can't.
that
There's no way.
we're the target audience.
Joe
and we'd be
Dante's
fucking
still
pissed.
around. He's only like 70, maybe. He could probably still do it. Yeah, I think fucking the first Gremlins is just one of the best movies ever made
I
in
watch it
general.
every Christmas.
Second one's great,
Great.
though too. It's
The
so
second
it's
one
so
is
fucking meta for the
Second one's
time.
really
super
good.
meta commentary.
Yeah.
Unbelievably
Second
cool.
one's great. Second one's great.
Yeah, and also that guy fucks a gremlin.
Yeah, there's the electric
like
gremlin
the
and the
hot
gargoyle
gremlin.
gremlin. Right? There was the electric gremlin, the gargoyle gremlin, the lady model gremlin.
Good shit in there.
Jesus Christ.
The whole thing. Would you fuck the hot gremlin?
Nah.
Why
Yeah.
not?
Nah.
You would.
I know I'm in company.
Not to toot my own horn here, but I fucked a hot gremlin or two in my day.
I like to put my hands underneath and lift the hips a little bit.
Yeah.
And if it's all scaly and stuff, it's going to put me out of
I think
it.
the ridges would probably be really good for.
You think the ridges go inside too?
I think inside's goopy. But
Gross.
Yeah, like the weird claw.
Well, yeah, when they
like
explode,
legs just like cling into your hips.
Yeah, when
there.
they explode, they just green slime.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what's inside of them.
Mm-hmm.
They're just filled with green slime. This one's a weird one too. Okay, Riley, you're not that great with geography. Are you good with geography?
I'm pretty good at geography.
Okay, I'll do Riley. You're looking at a map. You're looking at Australia. Where is New Zealand located with respect to Australia?
Top right.
No. It's southeast.
Southeast.
Oh, fuck.
People remember, a lot of people say it's northeast. It's southeast.
Really?
Yeah.
I would have gone with northeast, I thought.
Nah, southeast.
Is there an island northeast? Because southeast is Tasmania. Tasmania is New
There's
Zealand.
Papua
Fuck
New
my
Guinea's
ass.
directly above.
Right.
Yeah, Tasmania is
Huh.
southeast also.
Hmm.
I don't know
Well,
if
I'll
there's
be
anything
goddamn.
northeast.
They fucking moved it.
Yeah, that's the funny thing is
Continental
like,
drift.
is like, what do you
Island
mean
floatage.
it used to be northeast? It can't move. God damn it. Skechers
What about him?
does not have a T in it.
Skechers.
Skechers.
Get your Skechers shoes.
Hold on. Do you have that written down? I want to look at it.
Skechers.
Really?
Yeah, if you pull it up on your phone, they'll show you side by side of what and with a T looks right. But that's also because the word sketch without a T in it looks weird.
Because it's not a word. It's Skechers.
Yeah. What the fuck are they referencing then?
CH is a soft sh.
I don't know.
So we've been saying it wrong for 30 years as well?
You just sound like Holly Hunter when you do.
No, I think you would still do the
I'm
hard.
wearing Skechers.
I think you would still do the hard CH. If it was Skechers, it would be SH.
No, that's racist.
Skechers. What?
Fuck.
Riley's losing it, dude. It's too late for him.
Oh,
It's too late for him to
I've
be
forgotten everything.
awake. How about Febreze? Only 3 E's in that word, not 4. Febreze. It's not breeze.
What the f-
It's brez.
Febreze?
They
Febreze.
call me the breeze.
What?
They call me the breeze. I keep blowing on down the road.
I thought you were gonna say
breeze
because you be farting. They call me the breeze because I be farting.
Are you not getting this reference?
Yeah, you're singing a fucking Leonard Skinner song.
Is it Leonard Skinner?
I
I
don't
thought
know.
it was ZZ Top.
How does it go?
They call me the breeze. I keep on blowing down the road.
What's the name of the song?
The breeze.
It's not called The Breeze.
It is.
It's Call Me the Breeze, song by Leonard Skinner.
Oh,
Yeah.
whatever.
I need to
Song
know,
fucking
know,
sucks
know.
anyway.
They call me the breeze. Didn't we already do Fruit of the Loom?
Yeah, I think we're done.
Oh yeah, there's also some people insist that Totino's pizza and pizza rolls is Tostinos.
I thought it was Tostinos.
It's Totino's.
It's Totino's.
Been
Oh.
Totino's forever.
Well,
I used
fucking,
to stockpile those fuckers in my freezer when I was in college.
fucking stupid. I thought it was Tostinos. Whatever.
That's Totino's.
Oh, that sounds like a toddler's saying it. Can I get that Tostinos?
But what would be why would you add an S to it? You don't toast
Just
it. You
For
put it in the oven.
gravitas. Makes it sound like fucking fine Italian cuisine. Bring me Tostinos.
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 Parmigiano on my Tostinos. All right, that'll be enough. So that's a fun breakdown of cognition and data processing and memory store and recall. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
I hope
What's
you find it memorable.
It's
Huh.
remarkable. It's very complex. I like what you did with the memorable thing. I enjoy it. It's fraught with error, and that's brains, baby.
You know, it's kind of our podcast too.
What?
Honestly.
Brains
No, just fucking like
fraught with error.
fraught with error. Yeah, fraught with error. Like we do the research, we learn the stuff, but I mean,
Wait, remarkable, insanely complex, and fraught with error.
Yeah.
That's our podcast,
Yeah.
baby.
if you think about it, guys, if you can go back and you find any errors in anything we say, you're wrong. That's the Mandela
Yeah, you're just
effect.
misremembering.
You're just misremembering the whole thing.
It's a
Thank you for researching. I wanted to do something kind of almost meta with the idea of the title of the show, like delete everything, like forgotten, misremembered, whatever.
yeah, I like it.
It was cool.
By the way, another example of the brain's shortcomings: the game of telephone. Remember the game Telephone, where you'd whisper somebody in somebody's ear, something in
Oh,
somebody's
yeah,
ear,
yeah,
and
yeah.
it'd go around.
Yeah.
So that's a great example of the shortcomings of processing with limited information, right? So, we don't just communicate through verbal language. When we're speaking to people, we are subconsciously, whether we realize it or not, we're listening to their words, we're watching their lips, we're watching body language. All that stuff helps to clarify exactly what they're communicating with us. That game, and I get it, some people change shit up just to be performative and to just be silly. Like I used to do that all the time. I'd be like, I heard what you said. I'm going to make something different up. And tell that next person.
My favorite gag with the game of telephone is if you're the last person in line, no matter what reaches your ear, you just turn towards the last person and you just go, ah!
But yeah, if you limit that information to just sound processing without being able to see that person's lips or really read their body language or with no context in it, like in the context of a conversation, it's just a fucking sentence or a phrase or whatever. That's an example of how that message can be profoundly different from one person to the next. So, that's like I said, that's brains, baby.
Yeah, I was going to say something a little bit earlier about how like different animals perceive different things about the world utterly differently, like they say dogs are colorblind. Not entirely accurate. They just have different fucking rod cone combos.
Yeah, right.
So they can see different things in different abstract levels that make sense to them.
Sure.
Don't work so great if we try to perceive that.
You even take, animals that have eyes situated on the sides of their head.
Yeah,
like they see the world totally.
It's hard to
prey
even
animals.
contemplate how that looks to us.
That's only prey animals. Sorry, mammals.
Yeah.
In mammals, if they have eyes on opposite sides, they're usually prey animals because it allows them to see better.
Yeah, I thought that was titties. They had fucking milk producing titties on either side.
What?
That's the mammal thing, right? They're furry titties. Anyway, Drew, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Quick anecdote.
You have furry titties.
Yeah.
That's
I
the
do.
antidote.
Thank you.
I do.
Thank you for noticing.
I've got feminine breasts. Everyone knows.
Okay, Drew, do your anecdote.
My dad.
It does seem like you're about to say something heartfelt, and right after.
And I wanted to say had furry titties so bad.
He does.
I was in the middle of taking a drink, and so I just blurted fucking, oh, God, your dad.
Splurted your
And
dad.
his fuzzy titties.
Fuck the anecdote.
No, I want to hear
Thank
it
you for
now.
listening.
I want to hear about your fuzzy-titted dad.
All right, real quick. Dad's about 5 years old. He's got a younger brother. They're Irish twins. He's like 4, right?
Okay.
It's the early 70s. What's exciting? Fucking anything, right?
Yeah, fucking anything.
Anything
It's always
is exciting
exciting
because
even
it's
not in the
a
70s.
boring as shit time to be a kid.
Drive-in movie theaters.
Yeah. So they got excited about going to get the mail. Now, mail was I'm serious. The mail was not a mailbox.
Your dad had a shitty upbringing.
Yeah, he did. Mail is not a mailbox out by the curb. It's like a box on the house with the little hooks underneath. Right?
Yeah.
So they were both pretty short, and they used to always fight over who got to get the mail. So they had a little stool that they would get up on, right? So my dad gets up. My Uncle Robert's all pissed off. Like, my dad's grabbing the mail, and he pulls the stool out from under him. And the hook goes under my dad's eye and pops the fucking thing out.
Oh my God.
Right? So we were talking about...
And that's why my dad thinks Fruit Loops is spelled Fruit.
we were talking about seeing in two different directions and how we can't even perceive it. And I've always asked my father, like, because his eye was pointed in another
his
direction.
ocular nerve was still connected.
Right.
Everything was.
See.
He has his eye to this day. They basically popped it back in and like put a couple stitches.
Yeah.
Like, he got really fucking lucky.
Wild.
But for one, he was 5. He can't really remember.
Sure.
But he couldn't recall, like, your brain can't process it. Like,
Right.
he couldn't see in
just
two
blink
directions.
out. Like,
Yeah, I think he pretty much went into shock.
Oh, I was going to say,
know he
also
went into the house
immediate
holding his-
shock of that has got to be...
I know he went into the house holding his eye where my grandmother fucking passed out and hit the deck. But, yeah. So if you've ever wondered if humans could conceivably perceive in two directions,
Pop
no,
out
they
your
can't.
own fucking eye.
Yeah, just pop out your eye and fucking wave it around and try.
Check it out. Put them in 2 different directions.
I mean, I guess you could just do it just by wearing like fucking VR headset shit, like just look one eye through different cameras.
You can't really like.
Yeah, I don't
combine
think
the
your brain,
images,
because again,
You
this
have
is
to
another
focus
thing
on
that
one.
your brain does is sort out that information from 2 different eyes and make it into something that you can fucking see correctly.
You know what I know
Maybe-
know this from? The Animorphs. when they turn into flies.
Thank you. Oh, I'm so glad we're referencing
Yeah.
the Animorphs on my episode.
Yeah,
I fucking love that
I think
series.
it's Cassie turns into a fly, and like there's a whole descriptive thing about how flies see in fucking like 50 different directions at once.
Yeah.
Probably.
Because they've got fractal lens eyeballs, fucking go all over the place. Compound eyes, right? So like the description in that is just like the overload of information and input is so intense that it like fries your brain.
And in the series, their human minds are still intact within the animal mind that they're like turning into. So like she has a lot of trouble like squaring like how they
have
even
to
perceive
kind of
it.
with shit like that. They kind of have to like let go so the animal instinct will take over to do
yeah.
stuff. But that's a very dangerous road to take because if you let your fucking like fly instincts take over, pretty soon you'll just be sucking shit and be like, oh fuck, how long have I been a fly?
Or like at one point they turn into
He's like,
ants.
I'm hungry. I need to throw up and shit on some stuff.
Or like at one point they turn it like with the instinct thing, they turn into ants.
That's the first. That's the first book. Yeah.
So ants are like hive mind or whatever, and their human minds just get completely like pushed out because like the ant brain like can't.
Because there's a queen somewhere like, bring me chips from that schoolyard.
Bring me royal jelly.
That's bees.
From the bee.
Okay, well, that's going to do it for this episode. If you enjoyed it, please get on whatever you're listening to. Give us 5 stars. Leave us a review. If you're on Spotify, leave us a comment. Join us on YouTube, where you can listen to all of our things. On Instagram, at Delete Everything Podcast. And if you've listened to all the episodes and it's just not enough for you, we've got dozens of bonus episodes on Patreon. They're a little crazy, but you'll have fun. So that's patreon.com/Delete Everything Podcast. We'll see you next week. Shit. Oh, next week's our 50th episode.
Hey.
See you next week for number 50. Bye.
Bye.
No,
this is 51. This is our 51st episode. Fuck.
Next week's our 52nd episode.
Next week's our 51st episode. We don't know what's happening because our brains are dumb. Bye.
Bye.
3 clinically insane people. Like that in a cornucopia.